200-period moving average. It's been bouncing there. I'd look for a bounce intraday here. It's about 560. You already have a low at 565. So I'd look for a bounce off that 200-period moving average. That makes some sense. It's already trying to do so. If it breaks the trend, yeah, that could be a bit of a play here for a trade. But it is that 200 that you got to watch out for on the one is the big bear. Just a bit of a spoiler alert. We still got our good friend Obi filling in for Joe as Joe recovers from the ACL. He's doing just great. We've seen it in the chat a couple of times. But it is 11 o'clock.
No. Hold on a second, because we're going to lose all these guys. I just want to say thank you to everybody that's still signed up here. What's up to David the Red? Hopefully you're David the Green today. Shout out to Sean Hodge right here. 59 damn months. That's another one. Face slapper there. Thank you so much for all of that right there. Spark Shop 5259. Thank you so much. B Havish J23. Thank you so much. And then Sir 3 Braille 852. Thank you so much, and that concludes it. Cerebral, yeah. Thank you so much to everybody for your continued support. It does mean a lot to us. I'm just here, salesman or not, man. I mean, you guys will enjoy that read, and it's just like I said. I don't think you can go wrong with it. So. Someone just said, what's for lunch, man? It's the Italian chicken finger rigatoni combination today. So we'll get that for you, and hopefully we'll be able to show some of that. I'm going to go get a haircut, and I know, what hair? I will see you guys very, very soon. Going to go get the haircut before it starts to snow. Obi, is it snowing outside? Sharif, is it snowing outside? It is. Uh-oh. We got to get our boots on, get all strapped up. Let's go. It's Midday Show. Good job today, and we will see everybody.
I just noticed that.
At 2 o'clock. Ciao for now.
Peace. Baby.
Yo.
Greetings and salutations, beautiful people. Welcome to the Midday Show. That is your boy, Obi. He is the frickin' one Kenobi, and I'm Sharif. And welcome to everybody, and thanks for everybody for signing up. Thank you for the Katina Man for that fantastic explanation of what the note is. As a plethora of new members signing up there, a plethora, Katina Man.
All right.
Let's say hello to everybody, man. We got Kirk D, let's go. We got Julia. We got Lear for life. A shout out to Chris Trades. Brody's in the house, as well as Will Ramos, I should say. Matt Trader. We got Dark Skin Irvin? I don't know. Can't say that.
Okay.
We got T27. Papatito's in the house. Shyam Bhutani. Andrew Chow joining us, as well as putting up frickin' numbers. Shout out to the Rainmaker, Wall Street Gambler, Sit and Spin joining us, the Bedhead guy. Shout out to Johnny Loved Butter and Henry Puro. We got Mr. Janky Stock. Shout out to Buffalo Soldier, Darth Traders in the house as well. Mike P. Ryder. I got to do it. It's customary, baby. JL 822. And who else? Michelle Meir, Medical Marinero. We got Wyatt. We got Blue Arrow. We got Mr. MXYZP. Good morning to everybody, and good morning to you as well, Ob.
Good morning, Sharif. How has your morning been?
It has been
usually
fantastic.
Come in from the gym. So what was today's day?
On the menu today, was a continuation of what it's going to be later in the day.
I love continuations.
He looked me dead in the eye and had the most serious note. Yes, I know you like continuations and reversions, Obi. Yes. We did a little back, a little
Sharif
chest
works out
today.
Twice in a day, by the way, guys.
I do.
I talked to him last time. He's like, I do a light workout and then a heavier workout. That's sick, man. I gotta, I'm trying to get back into it, because there was a time when, while I was in school, like, in order to avoid studying.
I saw the pictures.
In order to avoid studying, right after classes were done, we'd hit the gym for a few hours, and I'd just be like, okay, I'd have like a podcast on or whatever. That would be my lazy way of studying. But yeah, no, I'm thinking about getting back into it. What's a good way to kind of just ease?
Start small. Start small. I'm just speaking for my own self. When I pick up new habits, I pick them up little by little, not all at one time. Otherwise, I feel like there's a higher attrition rate.
Yeah, it's like you overload yourself.
Exactly.
Almost.
20 minutes, half an hour, then you expand from there.
All right. Cool.
All right. Let's ease
into these markets.
Yeah, exactly. Let's ease into the markets. There's a whole lot running today, guys. I'm sure you guys already have eyes on PAVM. It is the biggest, the baddest stock, I should say, in the market at the moment, up 291%. It is halted upside. It's a little bit off the day high. The halt level, I believe, is 24.21 with a 24.49 high. But take a gander at these higher lows. And as Obi would say, look at the structure that's holding. Yeah. Let me make my case to you guys. Bull flag breakout at 8:15, likely when the headline came out, we consolidate. We get a bull flag number 2. Nice breakout there. We consolidate. But look where the consolidation holds, right? Prior area high or prior bull flag range high. We continue bull flag number 3. We come back down. Look where we hold. Prior breakout range high. And now we're kind of just putting in that higher high and higher low. Doesn't have to be a bull flag party. We already got a few of those, but we're going to keep a very close eye on PAVM. It's got a little bit more expensive, mind you. I mean, it started out its life today in the pre at $6.20. Now it's trading at $24.49. You know, that'll have to factor in to the risk management, the size positioning, as well as the things that we always talk about. PAVM, there it goes into another high of day. It is now $26.99, and it's up 325%. We got to keep a close eye on this one. We don't even have it up on a trading screen yet. I wasn't ready. No, I was, but I wasn't. Here it is, guys. Okay, let's take a quick look now. The spread is wide, to be expected of this name. I could have just told you that based on how it was trading on the chart. It's decent. 30 pennies, as wide as 50, continuing to watch. The new highs, they're coming in fast. They're coming in furious. It's 27.50 high right now. Keep an eye out on this one. Look for a test of the previous halt level. As I mentioned, the halt level around that 24 area. So sometimes what you end up getting is the filling of that intraday halt gap, right? It comes back in, it tests that 24 level, then it's on its merry way into another new intraday high. 27.50 high, trading at 26.30. I have a lot others to talk about right now. GITS, GITS was going to be one of them, but GITS just lost it in a freaking hurry, and it may lose its spot on the side chart. So we're going to have a look at AMDL. By no means like the big bad mover that we're getting on PAVM over here, PAVM, but AMDL stair-stepping up, good structure, very little in the way of bamboozlement, nary a breach of the 10 EMA on the 5, and I'm talking about literally from 9:30 onwards, so we're talking about an hour and a half here of clean moves above the 10 EMA. And then you have a couple of less savory ones that we're just going to keep on there because, well, there's nothing really to fill their spot. SEGG was the monster we saw yesterday. It had a pretty tumultuous aftermarket as this one did gap down, I want to say, at around 2 o'clock. And then it was a long-ass gap, and then halt, I mean. And then it ended up opening substantially lower than where it closed. Trying to catch a bit of a bid today, but something tells me we're going to have a whole bunch of bag holders from $3 and up, because that's where the flat bottom break ended up manifesting. So that's SEGG. AMDL I already talked about. ADTX is kind of, you know, a multi-day runner by now. We've gotten kind of used to this one. By far, you know, the weakest day it's had in a while, but hey, man, 34.75% is 34.75%. So if this sets up a bit better, it's definitely on my watch list. BNAI is also looking good, but it lost the volume weighted average price, so it's going to have to weasel its way above that 9.5, 9.75 for me to get involved. And then NUAI up about half the amount percentage-wise as BNAI. But hey, man, the chart looks better, quite frankly, above the volume weighted average price, trying to take out that prior area high at 640. This one had a great day yesterday as well. We're holding yesterday's lows. We're not above yesterday's highs right now. We're basically at them. Take a look at that candle right there at 12:15. That is yesterday's high, and that went to 632. We're currently showing 629, 622. What I don't like about NUAI is the, unbroken chain here of lower highs. Area high into 650, another area high into 640, and now we have another lower high into 6 1/3, 633. So you need to be on the lookout for that trend break on NUAI. At least I would be before weaseling into this one. So we're going to keep, of course, close tabs here on PAVM because it's still doing its thing 25, but it's not time for me to enter in quite yet, Obi.
Nice, good stuff there, Sharif. We see that, you feel like small caps are coming to a little bit of a wind down. or are we still in the middle of the season, still hot right now? How do you feel about that?
I personally feel not yet.
Yeah.
You know, Russell is not the end-all and be-all of small caps, but a good gauge. Up the most today of all four major averages, 1.4%, followed by the Qs at 1.25. So, and you saw what happened yesterday. Yeah. It was a feast of different small caps. So.
Yeah. I'm just sometimes I'm like sometimes things end with a bang, and that's why I'm just like, all right, maybe we're coming into a little bit of a cool down here. But VIX, another day, reclaimed 20 this morning.
Oh man!
And Netflix earnings, talking about that 82 level. Guess what? Price got a little balanced today. We came all the way to 80s, but there was a lot of buying happening in the 80 halves and the 81s this morning. Makes sense. We're in a bit of a demand zone. 82 was that level, and ultimately 81 was the wick low from prior. And guess what, Sharif? 82s is the current day low, intraday low here on Netflix. Let's pull up the book here. On Netflix, you can see here, the low is, okay, so it's giving me session low, so never mind. The intraday low is like 81.97s or something. So I tried to take the long here. I was very late to it. I tried to push into this 84 because the tape was very convincing, and we're breaking out of this opening range high as well into that 84, 83 halves-ish level. I think it was 60s right there. That push was pretty aggressive, but choppy. Extremely choppy, a lot of selling, a lot of buying, just wiping the book both ways. I did get a little bit aggressive on the short, on the back through, because I was like 85, a bit of a key level, maybe a little psychological as well. Let's see if it can't get through. The first big slam comes in right underneath 84.90s. I'm like, all right, I saw that happen. I'm like, okay, I'm getting aggressive into 84s, because 84s was it's the next whole dollar level after the opening range high break. So I'm like, if 84 breaks, then yeah, there's definitely stops that are getting hit from longs that pushed into it, because I was also a long that tried pushing into it, but got chopped up. Didn't really get chopped up, but took a little bit of a muted profit as we just chopped around that 84. Didn't really get any orders past 84. I think I got out like 91s there after my last ad at 97s, but getting stopped out of this one, that wasn't too bad, but I did get pretty aggressive there on that 84 push. So it kind of got slapped up there. But here's the thing: you got to stop out so that you can take the next trade. And I have every I have no doubts that I have the ability to take the next trade. So I'm just like, all right, I'm gonna wait for this. 85 comes in, flushes. I start small. I'm like, this could wash 85 a little bit. Take a little bit here. 85 comes in, and then sellers start stepping in. There's a size on the ask above 85s there, Sharif. So I was like, all right, this is go time. Now I'm punching in, and now I'm ready to get aggressive, but not really getting aggressive right away. Maybe that's the issue here. But anyways, can't be picking tops and bottoms there. Getting chopped up is sometimes it's part of the game there. Because the sellers are coming in a very dominant fashion in and around 85s. Right? So we come in, I get more aggressive 84 halves, we pull down, we pull back up. I'm like, okay, now no reason to cover. Let's look for a lower high, because take a look at this. This conveniently placed, I think this is an 8 EMA or 9 EMA right here, conveniently placed exponential moving average shows the break of trend. That happens after the key level false break. So failure to follow through 85. Now we made a lower high. I'm like, all right, it's game time right now. 84 halves, I'm taking more. 84 back through 84, I'm taking way more here. I cover the first push into VWAP. I cover a little too aggressively. I don't have too much left, but that was one of my main trades. And then now I'm looking for a potential continuation below VWAP for those sellers to step back in. We came into that long-term demand level. It was support. We talked about this. We were talking about this multiple times yesterday. So let me show you guys on the daily chart here on Netflix.
Like it.
NFLX. Let's do a quick chart review right here. So these were some of the targets. So again, we're gapping down on earnings. Remember we were talking about yesterday, it's been using any and every reason, any sort of volume that's been coming in to sell off. And guess what happens off of earnings?
What happens?
It sells off
right away.
Right here. So this is what I'm looking at. This was a significant day here, and that's the April bid, Sharif. This is where the whole market bid up from. So that's the key level. I'm looking at that. Let's get specific. What was that level? That was 82.11s. Now, if we go to an hourly chart, we'll see what printed in the after hours. Now, I know some people don't like to use the after hours prices. I say, I don't care. As long as it did volume, it is a valid price in the market. 81.27s. That's that price. So guess what we did this pre-market? 81.27s. We held 80s. We reclaim some of those key prices going into the open. Nice strong bid. And I'm like, okay, well, we came into an area of demand and now we're seeing buyers, prior demand. Right? Now, how far can this go? So I marked out this pre-market chop here at 84s, and I'm like, all right, 85s as well, bit of a key level. I'm going to look for a bit of a reversion if sellers do decide to step right back in. Okay. And that's exactly what they did at 85s. 84s, not so much. There's a little bit of a chop, but the behavior did start to change in and around this 85 level. Sellers did start to step in, and I am not holding any of my size, so GG's on that. Got to get much better.
Only reason I know that is because of StarCraft.
With that, yeah.
That's the only reason I know what GG means. Otherwise, I have no idea.
But that came straight into VWAP. So my P8 VWAP is all the way up here.
Right.
This VWAP is right here at 83s. Now we're pulling below that as well. So now, again, didn't really hold too much. But where's the next trade? The next trade could still be on Netflix if it holds that VWAP now and consolidates underneath it for a continuation. And the market as well, Sharif, market was hella strong off the open. Now, if this starts to turn as well, that's a little bit of tailwind, right? So that's what I got involved with. Intel was the next one, Sharif.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy.
Intel.
I feel like there's a story.
Oh, my God.
And it's going to have a very thorough explanation.
3 days in a row, we knocked.
I heard you smashed it last week.
Well, I wouldn't say smash. Smash is relative.
Yeah.
Smash is relative.
I respect that.
Can definitely be doing much better. If I'm not max size, am I really smashing it? That's the reason, right? If I have true conviction, why am I not using everything I have and throwing everything in the sink at it, right?
Yep.
So I did have pretty strong conviction.
Good.
Day 3 didn't come in, but today, 50 was already testing in the pre-market, Sharif. You can see how cleanly we were holding above 50. Coming in off of the open, just straight up. The breakout, I think the level to take this was the pre-market high breakout. That's your opening drive trade. 50, 60s if you like them, right there. If you're brave enough to take the opening print, then yeah, sure, take the 50, 30s and risk to 50 because we're already trading above that. But we move all the way up to 54s now, and we're going. This was the level. Look at this daily breakout. Daily breakouts are absolutely amazing. Intel right here. Let's go to the daily chart, and you can see here the kind of action that we had over the past 3 days. Now on a daily chart, it doesn't look that convincing because it's just more of the trend. We're just trending up very, very nicely. But you go down to an hourly and you see what's been happening over the past 3 days. Strong wick, supply at 50. Strong wick, supply at 50. Not as strong of a wick, but selling off into the close. Supply at 50. We're coming in, gapping up above those levels and pushing into it. Your opening drive trade begins at 50 40s and then 50 60s as well as we push up. And that gives you 54s on a 15-minute chart. We're still well within trend, Sharif. So that was the trade. But guess what I did?
What'd you do, Ob?
I saw that and I was like, I missed it. So I'm just going to switch over to my scalp playbook, and I'm like, all right, I know the longs are very strong, and the longs are on today. On the first pullback, get short, boom, back to VWAP, scalp it out. On the next significant sign of selling, get short, scalp it out. After that, I did not see any sort of serious selling. I think maybe here at 53 halves, but I was busy with Netflix at the time, so I didn't really pay attention. But Intel and Netflix, some of the best opportunities in the market today. Netflix, arguable, it was very, very choppy. But Intel, you have to be fast for the long through 50. You have to think about it. If it's a really good trade and it's crowded, it'll probably happen real fast.
Oh yeah, no question. Right? Absolutely.
Good prices are not going to wait around.
It doesn't give you time to think.
No.
And that's the same in
you have to have some orders in there.
Can't agree more. Come on, you Gunners. I see you, Benton. I see you, baby. First in the Champions League, first in the Prem. We're doing it freaking live. City got smacked yesterday. and more pleased I could not be. Random Premier League yell, but I saw Benton saying, come on, you Gunners, and I have to respond. All right, here we go. PAVM halted down. Before it halted down, though, your boy took a quick scalp trade. Long at 26. We took it up into 27 and I believe 2/3. We're doing it live on this one, but it is halted down. It is halted down at the moment at the exact price, $24.29. Halt time, exactly 11:17:54. The earliest this will be open up is 11:22:54. Mark your timers or whatever method you are utilizing on your side of the screen. PAVM still above the 10 EMA on the 5, and in fact, I like it a little bit better here, okay? Look at this breakout level, once, twice, he is the one, OB thrice over here, and then we took out finally on the breakout when it was halted up actually at 10:55. We took it out substantially, having opened up I think 25.90, 26, something in that realm. In any event, this is very, very strong and very, very directional, okay? I'm involved right now in another one, AMDL. We got long 95s. I've wet the beak up into 10s. I am kind of lofty in my expectations, but let me tell you something. It's got a beautiful 1, 2, 3, 4, and then this current candle is undecided whether it's going to be red or green. It could be 5 green candles, but super anemic in its ascension. Moreover, it is finding clear area of resistance at the 10 penny level, $21.10. Don't know why, but it's an observation that, I have to articulate because it's not clearing the 10 penny level, despite the fact that it's been up to 22 pennies on the day. Spent very little time there, though. We're holding here. We're going to have, we're going to keep an eye on this one for a possible breakout. But we had a lot of new members, thanks to Sean and, him mentioning the morning note. So I wanted to tell, because somebody was asking me in the chat, he's like, am I going to get the email with the morning note, or what's the situation? So I just got to show you exactly where to get the morning note every single morning, and it's out before we go live. So what you're going to do is you're going to mosey on over to the YouTube, the Trader TV Live YouTube homepage. So this is it right there, and then you're going to see the tabs at the top over here: home, video, shorts, live, podcasts, etc. You're going to click posts right there. Click posts, and then when you do so, this bad boy will show up. And for those who have memberships, it's going to show this green rectangle that says members only. If you don't have a membership, you're not going to see this post. And then you're going to see Sharif's morning note. You click read more, and there she is right there, right at the bottom. Read the full PDF here. You click that bad boy. It takes you to a members only Google Doc site, and there you go. Every single morning it'll be right there. Use it, and let me know what you guys think and what changes you think that I should be making. And trust me, there are changes coming. It was slated for the new year, but with this kind of thing, I have to run a beta for a long time to see whether it's feasible that I repeat it every morning. But the changes are coming. A lot more TA is going to be coming to the morning note. We're talking RSI. We're talking a whole bunch of different things, chart patterns that, that it can pick up. So a lot more technical analysis coming alongside the fundamentals on the story. So get it while it's only $5 a month, because there's a birdie that told me something. Okay. And I don't know if I'm
what kind of birdie?
At Liberty, a Brendo birdie.
Okay. I was going to say, is it what?
But changes may be coming to that, so get it while it's still hot. What are you laughing at, Ram Ram? Oh, what's going on over there, Ram Ram?
Tell us the joke, Ram Ram.
Yeah, she's always laughing at everybody, bro. She's mean to everybody all the time, Anyway.
It's nice to me. I don't know.
Yeah, in front of your face, yeah. Okay, I'm just joking. Alex, EHT, box L broke above the trend line and has been making higher lows with volume still hanging around. Not in love yet, but could this be an afternoon mover? I don't trade those ones, but I'm going to look at it for you, brother. BOXL is one that Alex is asking about. Let's take a look at that for him. Box light. All right, what am I seeing here? That's the daily, so not a good looking daily chart, which is fine. We'll flip to the 5. Okay, so trading below the volume at average price. Nice breakout in the aftermarket yesterday, and it ran pretty nice. So it closed out at about $1.25. When all was said and done, by around, I want to say 6:15, it was up about 75%. And that strength Oh, did it continue this morning? Opening up the 4 a.m. print at $1.41. Assassino, I didn't hear you, but give me 1 second, okay? And then in the pre-market got to about 331. Alas, we're not only putting in multiple lower highs, we're also below the volume weighted average price. This doesn't work out for me unless we change direction. No, firstly, I'd be looking for the break of the lower highs. I need to see higher highs to know that the buyers are now in control as opposed to the sellers. I'm long only, right? So that's one. Two, I have this rule that if there is a good amount of volume in the pre-market, and this one certainly meets that criteria, it did more volume in the pre than it did during regular trading hours, it has to be above the pre-market high for me to get involved. Otherwise, you're having to fight with all these bag holders, and there always seems to be a bit of a top on the price action. So that's kind of what I mean by that. And there goes AMDL. It's time to wet the beak here into 14s. Good luck. Next print, we're looking above the day's high. Sorry, Assassino, I didn't hear you, brother. Absolutely. Oh, what do you got?
All right, guys. So today's coverage is supported by Electrocore Inc., a Nasdaq-listed bioelectric technology company trading under the symbol ECOR, E-C-O-R. Electrocore develops non-invasive neuromodulation therapies designed to activate the vagus nerve, with products spanning prescription medical devices and consumer wellness. Its flagship GammaCore platform is FDA cleared for multiple headache indications, while its Truvaga and Quell products expand the company's reach into wellness and chronic pain. With growing adoption across the VA, international healthcare systems, and direct-to-consumer channels, Electrocore is building a diversified, high-margin bioelectric business. Learn more at electrocore.com.
I like that high margin.
Oh, yeah.
Anytime you say high margin, you got my attention. There goes SEG. Guys, SEG is breaking structure, to use an OBism here, and here it goes into the high of the day. So we were talking about the lower highs being operative on SEGG, despite the fact that this one was the big boy yesterday. There you go. It's a lower high, and then until the breakout above this trend line, it had been yet another lower high. But not only did we break prior crest high, we took out the high of the day, which was printed right at 9:30, so an implied balance high, the high of which was 255. It is now 259. SEGG is breaking structure and looking awfully bullish. How you weasel into this, especially with this kind of twisted double bottom looking shape, this one's always a bit challenging. What I would like to see is a test of the breakout area. I perceive that breakout area to be prior crest high. I'm talking about this on the 5-minute chart right there. So that would be 240. Now, you may not get that opportunity, especially if this starts catching a bid and squeezing out shorts, and or a big boy seller, a big boy buyer, I should say, comes in, and there's another high a day break. The squeeze is on. It's from 59 into 66 now. SEGG about to go 50% clean on the day. Keep your eye out on this one as PAVM bleeds its own blood below the 20 EMA on the 10 EMA on the 5. So PAVM is, on probation at the moment. It's going to have to set up a little bit differently, but SEG is squeezing here, guys. And here we go. Another high day in a 269. A lot of strength on this one. Now I'm looking at 250 as a possible retracement level using the first area high. So the first crest high that we put in the high of the day on, the initial high day at 255, that's what I'm looking at now. I think 240 might be too deep of a retracement. So watching for SEG here, looking for entries, Ob.
Yes, sir. So I'm just going through some of the stocks that I had on watch this morning. We already covered pretty much in detail Netflix and Intel. And Intel continues to hold its highs, pushing a little bit higher. But AMD is another name here, Sharif. AMD, another day of absolute strength. We saw this happen yesterday as well, where that drive off of the open just could not stop on AMD right here. So until about 12 o'clock, that's where I took a bit of the fade as well. But pretty strong bid, up about 6% in the morning session. Guess what it's doing today?
What?
Even more. So today, it's up almost 7%, just over 7% on that drive, and still no sign of slowing down. Yesterday, we had that sideways consolidation for over an hour, almost an hour and a half here before it started to break down. That was in and around 12 o'clock. We're coming into 12 o'clock as of right now. The market is also very strong. So maybe I'm looking for a bit of a double whammy here. Let's see if we can get that market pullback as well. This is pretty aggressive. Maybe we do a bit of a reversion here. I have no idea. I'm waiting and watching to see and let the market give me some information here. But PDD was another one we were looking at yesterday. Gap up and fade back in. So yesterday it was a gap down and then popped up. Sideways consolidation, pretty flat there. This morning coming in all the way with highs at 112s at 4 a.m. and since then straight fade all the way to the downside here at the same time. So 106s on PDD. Another strong one in the chip sector here, Sharif, is Micron. Micron continuing to push higher. Prior day breakout was 381. You can see here that we are holding well above 381s. 393 halves currently on Micron. So absolute strength. This stuff continues to bid higher and higher, all-time highs almost every single day, especially after breaking out of this 350 push, right? This is a beautiful continuation happening here on the daily and the weekly as well. Can't stop, won't stop on Micron. Exactly. SNDK.
When I say that now, it's so Diddy that I don't even want to say it anymore, man.
So, okay.
Yeah, he kind of ruined it. It was it was nice. And then, Diddy, he had to be Diddy.
I mean, yeah.
Now nobody can say it.
Well, definitely one thing that's not slipping on oil here is SanDisk straight to the upside. Very, very clean. Continues to push higher.
Did you see
every single day
between Maduro and Diddy? Like, yo, he took my oil too. Ram said to the
There's a meme. Oh, is it the one with the dude explaining financial derivatives using those two? Or
no, it's like because Diddy had baby oil. Anyway, you know what we're talking about. Maduro and Venezuela. Anyway, we have to go to Adara.
I have a quick PSKY and Netflix update as well. Seeing reports that the EU is expected to probe Netflix's and Paramount's bids in parallel. So even though NFLX obviously in a better position with Warner Brothers with regards to its bid, looks like the European Union Commission is going to be probing both the NFLX and the PSKY bids at the exact same time. NVIDIA's newsroom account also posting here about quantum. So potentially keep an eye here on some quantum plays, though nothing specific was mentioned. Bitcoin is trying to break a 6-day losing streak that actually took us below that 89,000 level of support that we've held recently. You have to mention some comments made by a couple different individuals at Davos. We'll start with Brad Garlinghouse, CEO of Ripple, and he was at Davos, of course, this week. He went on CNBC live from Davos, and he said that he is bullish on crypto, and he thinks we will see an all-time high this year in crypto market caps. He attributed that in part to the Landmark Genius Act, which came in last year, and he said that, quote, unlocked a lot of activity. So Brad Garlinghouse is bullish on crypto. President Trump also bullish on crypto, specifically in the U.S., because he was speaking today at Davos during his address. He said that he wants the U.S. to remain, quote, the crypto capital of the world, despite what he views as opposition from China, who he thinks wants to also be a crypto leader. He also said that new crypto legislation could unlock, quote, new pathways for new financial freedom. So lots of bullishness here in crypto from a couple different individuals here at Davos, including the president. But again, he does specifically want to keep crypto leadership within the United States of America. He did mention one way to do that is to hopefully get some more bills signed this year in that sector. Make sure to like and subscribe. Back to the midday.
Thank you very much. All right, guys, Seg is doing it and doing it live. We got 48s at the moment. I literally have 1 penny off the high of the day. I got 73s. It's a 74 penny high day. Something's wrong with the position board. I'm sure it'll be up in a minute. Just give us a second, guys. But Seg breaking out now. Somebody was asking me in the chat, realistically, Sharif, what do you think Seg could get to intraday? First and foremost, I'm eyeing that whole dollar level. You always should be, especially if you're above 50 pennies. The squeeze is on above that level. So I'm looking for 3. But, if we really get bullish, it could, I'm not saying it's within the odds of it happening, but it could get to yesterday's high if we really get strong. So SEGG doing its thing 25 right now, but look at AMDL coming right back into my entry. Decision to make here. So this, if it holds up here at the 10 EMA, this is the 10 EMA, the 95, 94 area would be a higher low. However, we have a lower high. So this would be lower high and then higher low. That would be a compression pattern if it happens. So what I'm trying to decide now, I'm going to give it to below 90. So that below $20.90. So let's go ahead. I'm going to put in my stop right now below that 90 penny level, and we'll see what we get. Now, if a new candle opens up on AMDL and holds this level, most especially too, if it's above prior bar low, opens up above prior bar low, having this candle touch the 10 EMA and bounce above it, I could add into this position. I'm made a little bit more concerned about the lower high, okay? It's a 21-22 high a day. The highest highest price we got to in this latest price ascent was, I believe, 20 pennies. Let me just double check that. No, incorrect, 17. So 22 high, 17 area high over here. 22 intraday high, and 17 penny local area high on AMDL. So I'm going to continue to watch a little bit more. If this is going to squeeze and hold above 20, then it'll likely take out the high of the day. If that is my thesis and that's my bias, then it gives me a bit of time to add more rather than trying to get the best price. So continuing to watch here on AMDL. We're break even at the moment. A loss of 90 ends the trade for me. I have one more out, so we're not risking that much. But I got to keep my eye here on SEGG coming right back into the $0.50. So what do we do here? Do we hold up at the 50 penny area, the $0.50, or are we going to retrace into the actual breakout area where I perceive the breakout area to be, which is prior crest high, which is 40. Continuing to watch here on SEGG to see if this one drops back down, tests the 10 EMA and the breakout level at 40 pennies, or whether it finds support at the psychological area at 50 pennies. So that is what I'm keeping an eye on at the moment. By the way, oh, here comes 40. So we're already out of the money on this one for the last remaining amount. Let's keep an eye out here. Let's see if this is the money fill. So let's get my order ready to see if we have an aggressive move up here. Let's go ahead and keep an eye out on this one. Just keeping an eye out. I want to see if a retest of the area. Here it comes 42. We're showing 42s, 41s now. Okay, let's give this a try, and there we go. We'll get out at mid-30s, so we were not going to be risking that much. So go ahead for half the amount, okay, through 35. So let's see if it holds up at 35. Stop is in play. What do I have now on SEGG? I have 43, so we're break even now. Let's go ahead and put a couple of profit takers in the high 40s and high 50s. So if we do get that price ascent, and there it goes right back up, filling me. Beautiful. Okay, now we need that continuation though through the $0.50. We get a nice little fill there because we had a resting order, but we have to look for continuation now. So 57 is the next area I'm waiting. Right back down into the low 40s we go. So this one finding support momentarily at the 10 EMA on the 5. Is it a sustained area of support? That's the kind of the question I'm asking myself at the moment. By the way, stopped out on AMDL for the last remaining amount here. So my focus will be on SEGG. Oh.
Yeah, so I see this headline on the screen saying Denmark rejects Trump's demand to negotiate takeover of Greenland. Saying the foreign minister. Okay, cool. Whoa, that was a nice little drop. Market dropping as well. We talked about that potential reversion happening. So I looked around. I'm like, all right, let's go shopping. I'm curious to know what's on sale or what's mispriced in my opinion. And whoa, that's some aggressive selling coming in here as well. So Google was the one I decided to participate with. But
I don't
you
think
can
the
see
Europeans are going to bend at all on this.
Yeah, I don't.
I'd say
really
they have way too much in their history to bend a knee.
I'm not. I
You know
don't
what I mean?
know anything about like too much about the details and everything, and it's definitely not my place to kind of.
Why not?
Say just because I can say whatever I want, but I just again not necessarily my place to be like, all right, cool, like that's the way things should or should not go. But which way should the market go? Maybe I might have an opinion, but okay. I'll keep that to myself as well because I just want to listen to what the market is telling me. And the market was telling me, hey, we might be done that bid. And you can see here how aggressive that selling comes in with the prior bar break of the 15-minute candle on the Nasdaq, and the constituents as well dropping down pretty aggressively. I was looking at IONQ because I think Dara mentioned that someone was talking about quantum as well, I think. So yeah, Microsoft here, Microsoft breaking through its day low. Let's just go through some of these names and see. This is what I was looking at, and which ones are really more distinctly different than the others. Apple hasn't really broken its low just yet, so maybe this one's coming in, prior day low coming in at 243.5. So maybe this one's lagging behind Google. I really like this one because this one was extended back into an area where we saw some selling coming in here. We couldn't really get past it, and then the market starts to dump as well. And I obviously don't have enough size on, and literally after I got in, it just slapped down another $1 on this. So I think maybe some more developments. Maybe that was the headline where that might be why we're selling off as well. NVIDIA at the same time, not as extended as Google, but back into an area from yesterday where we did see some selling, especially in the pre-market, and that's coming in for a break of trend. 183s down to 181s right now. Tesla, I thought about Tesla and I'm like, is this really a chase? Tesla was already down here at 126s. I'm like, I can definitely try to take some inventory into 125s. I like that holder. Oh, wow, Amazon's really cracking right now. Amazon actually, here's the thing. Google was very strong. NVIDIA, relatively strong as well. But Amazon here actually did a lot of chop. It went through a lot of trouble, pulled back into VWAP. So it did have a lot of pullbacks, and then slowly started grinding up to its highs and then just consolidating in the upper quartile of today's price action. But with this action now, with the market reverting, look at this aggressive waterfall. No stop at VWAP. No, stopping for any sort of, passengers to pick up or drop off. Straight to the downside right here. 228s is the day low. 228.68s right here, and that's coming in real hot and heavy right now, Sharif. So wow, I definitely did not take enough of Google here. Where's the next trade? Seems like Netflix. 83s might be the place here. Netflix is the one where I was like, okay, well, let's look for that VWAP hold. Let's see if 83s can hold with any sort of distinction. If not, then we take that continuation below VWAP as well. That's potentially the next trade I was looking for. But 83, a bit of a bounce here, back up to here. But I do want to reiterate that Netflix has a bit of a discrepancy between VWAPs depending on the platform that you are using. Now, VWAP here on our P8 platform is sitting at 83.40s. Just go to a different platform right here, NFLX. You can see we're on top of VWAP right here. That's coming in at 83.17. So that is a pretty big discrepancy on, in my opinion, 20 to 30 pennies difference. And that's coming straight into 83s as well. If this market continues to flush, Sharif, we might see some prices we have not seen since the opening session.
Oh yeah, well, this is definitely looking like it's going to be weak. Why is Intel up 10.5%? What?
Daily breakout.
I didn't even notice that. Yeah, because I rarely look at these names unless it's in the morning or at night when I'm doing prep. But
daily breakouts.
I don't look at them during the midday at all. You know that.
Daily breakouts, regardless of cap. Regardless of whatever, daily breakouts and breakdowns are some of the best trades in the market.
Agree. No,
especially when it's been winding up. We saw for 3 days it couldn't go, and the pre-market was distinctly different today.
Right.
And it just 3 days worth of pressure just gets swiped
right away,
right off
straight
the open. Right. Exactly.
As your boy Joey Opsh likes to say, guys, continuing to hold SEGG here. We've been holding on a 2-candle basis on the 5-minute chart at the 10 EMA on the 5. But that's, not really what I'm in this for, right? I'm not looking to break even, where we're getting kind of the look that I want here, which is we're holding off at that 40 penny level in addition to the 10 EMA on the 5. All right, there we go. We get the print. Let's look to see if we can reclaim the $0.50. There's a whole bunch of selling in and around that $0.50, 48s, 49s, even 50 penny level, all acting as a local area of resistance at the moment. But we've got 41s on, so we got a bit of a buffer. My stop is at 35. you know, let's see if I move that up or not. If we reclaim the 50 penny area decisively, we'll move up the stop so we can give myself a little bit of room. There's 48 again, and you can see the selling coming in right around the $0.50. So not really surprised about that because the $0.50 is, you know, the psychological area of resistance, but we had been above it and been above it in a big way, moving up into 74. So I didn't think we'd be struggling with it this much, but it seems like a thick trade down here. I don't really see the buyers jumping in quite yet. So I'm not definitely going to add to the position, but I'm not going to stop out either. So we're going to keep a close eye on this one and see if we can, you know, weasel into the $0.50 or what the situation is. But got to tell you, the high flyers that we were looking at this morning and saying, you know, there was a bunch, they've all slowed down. Whether it's AMDL, you know, get stopped out of that, or SEGG coming right back into the breakout area. PAVM had 2 down halts in a row. Now it's trading below the 10 and the 20. It is, though, above VWAP, and it hasn't broken trend structure. So if you're looking at area troughs, it hasn't broken prior trough low. Okay, so clearly a trough over here at around 855, obviously above that. Then we have a double bottom over here at 1010, 1015. That's an area trough. And then we got that trough right there at 20 3/4, which was the halt level. We're above that right now, and all those area lows are above their predecessors. So that's the look that I'm trying to say. So don't take off PAVM off your side chart quite yet. It hasn't broken down entirely. But as you can see, BNAI looks like hot garbage. ADTX, even hotter. And UAI can't be any hotter than this. But somebody gave me this, I think it was Yannick, QuantumScape, QS. This is all sorts of shades of the pandemic. This was a big name during 2020, 2021. QS, QuantumScape, they don't do anything quantum. They're battery related. So don't make that mistake. This one was interesting to me because VWAP kept featuring here, whether it was earlier at 10:25 and then rocketing up into the high of the day, or the dance with no pants over here that it did at the volume weighted average price, but it since gave way. And if it loses this 75 penny area, it's going to lose its spot on the side chart. Reason being 75 area hold, 945 at 75. Another area hold at 1025 at 75. Where is it right now? It is 79. So it's got a couple of more pennies here before it loses its spot on the side chart. But I got to tell you guys, these small caps, other than SEGG, not looking that good. They are in pullback mode at the moment. PAVM is kind of the only saving grace, but it's not setting up in the right way quite yet. So we're not going to pull the trigger there. AMDL, I'm going to be watching this at 2 areas. Firstly, you know, sometimes we see money fills at the 20 EMA on the 5. Sometimes we don't. So that's why I have it on there for exactly that reason. For times where it features, I'd like to know about it. If it doesn't hold up at the 20, I'm looking for this consolidation area, what I perceive to be the consolidation area of a bull flag that broke out at 930. So this area top over here takes us to about 20.40, 20.5. The range, though, is between $20 to $20.40 or 50 cents. So we have a 50 penny buy range. It's in no man's land, though. Well above that 1990, where the volume weighted average price is, well below the 10 EMA and the 20 EMA. So it's going to have to be, you know, you taking a shot over here, but I see a buy zone possibly between $20 and about $20.50. So if that comes in, you know, I'll be watching quite closely. But we're getting prints over here on SEGG as this one continues to melt up, so to speak. Where do we get the print there? We got it at 57s. We've got 41s on, and I've got no more orders waiting at the moment. So let's go ahead and post one at, you know where we're going. We're going to go to 69. Right, and that, you know, won't necessitate a high day break because a high day is 74. But I don't want to keep taking prints at random areas where, you know, there's really no reason to take prints at that area. So looking for a 69 print, and then if it takes out 74, likely going to add into this position for a squeeze into 3. But don't forget that this one was much higher yesterday, and as a result, it could have a lot of bag holders who keep the price dampened down. We're going to pause for a second. We're going to the big desk.
Keep an eye here on some of these gaming stocks and companies. Unity is an example. TTWO, though it usually does a lot less volatility, that's kind of moving here as well. Ubisoft announcing that they have cut their full year forecast because they're going to be doing some restructuring. So again, then you have these game stocks like TTWO and Unity trading in sympathy. Once again, Ubisoft here cutting its full year forecast, announcing restructuring. Some of these game stocks trading lower. Again, U and TTWO are 2 to look at. Back to you.
Thank you very much. All right, we'll continue to watch SEG coming into the 60 penny area over here. Seller at 60. We just flashed 60 there for a quick second, looking for a squeeze. There's 62. 63, looking for 69 and a squeeze above the high of the day in the 74. If this breaks 74, I'm adding for a squeeze into 3. Continuing to watch. Seller at 62. All right, we can't shake that seller. Keep your eye on my level 2, my time and sales, very left side of the screen. Look for green and orange. Those are at the ask or above the ask, shows buyer exuberance. The opposite is true. Red and blue shows seller exuberance. 65 printing now. We just need a bit of a squeeze into 70. We're not getting it quite yet. So have to pack the patience here on SEGG. But I like the look of this one's jib. And as I say that, it drops down into the 50s. You suck, Seg. No, I'm kidding, of course. Don't hurt his feelings. My man Nick, $2 super chat. Sharif, thoughts on ABMB, weekly long. Let's take a look.
Okay. Airbnb, that's a name I haven't heard in a while.
Yeah.
Wonder what that one's up to.
I was watching an interview with that Chesky fellow, Brian Chesky, the CEO, and he's an interesting guy.
Yeah, a lot of these.
All right, let's have a look at this.
They started off as a VC candidate, right? I think,
Oh yeah. Aren't they one of the YCs? I'm pretty sure they're at a Y Combinator.
Maybe.
Anyway, well, I'm pretty sure they're at a YC. I'm not 100% sure. Anyway, this is the daily. This goes back all the way to June of, what's it called, 2022. Wow, consolidation. Indecision is what I would say. Let's go to the weekly. So what was he asking? He's like, weekly long. Okay, good. I hate this chart, man. Look at this downtrend. This is a very, very clear downtrend over here. And unbroken, man, from the pandemic highs, 220, we go into late 2021 when Papa Powell said not transitory, and then another area high over here at 170, lower high, 163, and now we clearly have a bit of a top, a local area top at 140 on Airbnb, 140 to 145. You're getting up to that trend line, certainly, Nick, but that's a pretty, clean, unbroken lower highs on the weekly. And I'm thinking of,
Sorry,
as soon as I say weekly, this guy get pumped. No, but seriously though, I would be looking for a clean break above that. And the thing is, I'd be telling you, look for 140, look for a 140 break, a decided 140 break, but I'm hesitant to tell you that. And here's why. 140 reject all the while from October of last year to basically, I want to say early Jan of this year, 140 reject. Then you spike, and you spike bigly. Look at this move here from 135 all the way up into 165. But the next day, you're already selling off, and within 3 days, you're right below that 140. You do it again over here in June of 25, and then again in July of 25. You try to take out 140, you lose it. So, I was looking at 140. It looks like a very clean area for a breakout, but when you do some more analysis over here, it certainly looks that there's a lot of false breakouts on that 140 level. I don't like Airbnb on the chart. I don't like it from fundamentally. I've seen what the Europeans are doing with Airbnb, and I don't know, it may come to North America. Basically, they're starting to restrict it to no end because the cost of living is going up so much that they're having, to put these restrictions on how you can do it and whatever. And I know we did that in this city as well. So I don't know. I don't like it, Nick. I just got to tell you the truth. And I don't like it for a reason, for the TA there. But that's my look there.
Nice, good stuff there. I was saying yes because of Google. The market is coming down. Got into that reversion, that 331. I was like, the whole time, I'm like, I don't have enough. Hey, guess what? Stop complaining and look for places to get more. That's what I told myself. And then through 329, we're below 330. I like that. Through 328 as well. Now, Sharif, we're holding a little bit above or under now. That's why I was like, yes, because it was coming into prior day's level. So let's just quickly take a look at Google and what I'm looking at right here. Beautiful, beautiful extension off of the open, straight bid, very similar to that of the market. And I'm like, all right, this is the prior day's structure right here. Prior day's high, 327.70s. We did chop around for a little bit. On a 3 minute, you don't really see that chop around as much. but we slowed down a bit. So I was like, all right, I'm taking off a decent chunk here because VWAP's nearby here on this chart as well. VWAP's at 326.40s. That's about $1 away from where we are here on my right chart. But this is also where that consolidation in the morning was, from about 10 a.m. to about 10:30. So 30 minutes, we chop around for about $1 here, 327s and some change, down to 325s and some change. And right now, that area is confluencing with VWAP. Volume had not really dropped off until this selling really started. You can see that selling coming in right here in and around 11:27. And volume also kind of dropping off here, not as significant as some of the buying that went on. So I'm going to continue watching this, maybe a reload underneath prior day's high.
Before we go to Adara, guys, NAMM is breaking out. I don't know why I didn't have eyes on this, but it's up about 100%. This is the best looker right now in small cap gapper world, over 100%. Here comes $2. Just want to give you that, guys, before we go to the big desk.
Let's talk about Kevin Hassett here. He is making some comments, including on tomorrow's GDP print. He believes that there could be 2 GDP quarters north of 5% in the future. So just be aware, Kevin Hassett looks like he is still speaking. I'm also seeing this headline come around X. I did mention this about an hour ago here during our Money Talk segment, but it seems pretty unlikely that the U.S. Supreme Court is going to, I guess, allow U.S. President Trump to immediately remove Fed Governor Lisa Cook. So once again, appears that the Supreme Court will very likely deny Trump's request to immediately fire Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook. Again, I mentioned this and got more into it during a Money Talk segment about an hour ago. That hearing is still happening, and right now they're questioning Lisa Cook's lawyer. But either way here, seems unlikely for any kind of immediate action. Back to you.
Thank you very much.
All right, guys. Yeah, continuing to watch NAMM over here. $1.99. Oh, that's what the high of the day is. Not surprised about that. Very, very strong, very directional. I had this one up, guys. I thought it was low on volume because I had a bit of a dumb moment, and I had it on the 5-second chart. So I'm sitting there looking at the candles. I'm like, why is this so sparsely traded? But clearly when you flip back to the 1 or the 5, it looks fine. So on me, I've been watching this for about 15 minutes now, just thinking that it was sparsely traded, but up big on the day. That's a mistake, an oversight by me. $1.80 could be a nice dip trade here on the 1. Certainly resistance initially at that $1.80. $1.80 doesn't hold. I'm looking at that 160 to 170 area. A very clear breakout area at 160. It's almost a double top, tested twice. Finally breaks out at 1135, 1136. So this one is good, and it's about to hit triple-digit territory, and it's got that good price range that a lot of small cap gappers like. That $1, $2, $3, $4, $5 kind of look like seg, but I think we're a little extended here for my liking. If it breaks above 2, let's see how it does, how it acts, what it looks like, what the selling, what the buying looks like into that $2 area. I don't think it's the right thing to say, I'm just going to take it above $2 because that's, the end all and be all. No. I need to see a little bit more, analyze exactly how much volume is coming in, how decisively we're taking out 2, how many buyers step in on the bid to kind of support that $2 hold. So watching closely here, looking for $1.80. $1.80 doesn't hold. Looking for 160 to 170 hold on NAMM.
Yeah, so I got out of everything there. I did get a little aggressive through that 327, relatively aggressive, nothing too crazy. But pulling right into this VWAP area, sure, it's about 40, 50 pennies, 60 pennies lower is that VWAP. The market continues to sell off a little bit here, and AMD, another one. We were looking at that one as a potential pullback here, and that's starting to break trend. Let's see how our friends Micron and SNDK are doing. Okay, some slamming happening here, but again, I expect these ones to hold up higher because of just what they've been telling us over the past few days, weeks, maybe a couple months now. SNDK, okay, SNDK is not phased at all. Oh, sounds good. My RAM is still continuing to increase in price. That's great. Seems like my.
I've been wanting to upgrade too.
Dude, I need some SSDs, man. I need some M.2 SSDs.
What do you got on your computer? 16?
Dude, not on. No. For hard drive. I have.
What do I have?
I have 32 gigs of data, of 16, of RAM.
I want more.
No, it's not too bad. For what I want to do, it's nothing too crazy. I do have one more stick left. I was building what do you call gaming PCs during COVID.
Okay, yeah, I mean, you were telling me that.
Yeah. So I was doing some of that, and I still have some leftover parts from the PC that I ended up building at the end of that whole thing. But yeah, I have one DDR5 stick just left. I think I showed it on the show before. But if you guys know, dual channel is much better than having three sticks in there. But my SSD, man, I only have 500 gigs.
Oh.
I need way more than that.
You need way more.
I need to throw a couple terabytes in there, but because that's definitely filling up with a bunch of downloads and yeah, Fabian's saying that's my retirement exactly. If prices continue to go in the trend that they have been,
yeah.
I mean, I haven't seen any major pullback in the price of RAM. No slowing down either, and SNDK and Micron are a great indicator of some of that action there.
Certainly.
But when it starts to pull back, maybe that's when I sell the RAM and then wait a couple weeks and then use that money to buy 2 more sticks.
Don't you want to sell it before so that you get the best price and then you hold?
I mean, maybe, yeah. But here's the thing: I don't know where it's going to stop.
That's fair.
I don't know where it's going to stop. I'll take that bit of a hit. That first pullback.
Waiting for confirmation.
Yeah, exactly. I'm waiting for confirmation and maybe throw on some SNDK puts as well at the same time. But we'll see. We'll see there. Yeah, so we are slowing down here on top of 327s. This is a little bit of a key area from, again, before this was that consolidation, right? And I was looking for that continuation down. This market is beautifully selling off. 50% reversions all around. Maybe a little bit more than 50% now coming in and holding that level. So maybe we'll look for that second leg. But as of right now, Sharif, it is 12 o'clock.
Yes, sir.
It's happening now.
Yes, sir.
And your lesson of the day with Neil.
See you guys shortly.
Right back.
And news, keep an eye here on TMC, the metals company Verge reporting that the U.S. is fast-tracking permits for deep-sea mining. As you can see here on this most recent 15-minute candle on TMC, it seems to have liked that catalyst, at least initially. Keep an eye on maybe some housing stocks as well. Kevin asked it just now, saying that big housing policy announcements are coming soon. Let's take a look here at the overall market, see how we're doing so far today. We did have a pretty big reversal after a strong start to the session, a fairly consolidative pre-market session. What happened here with the S&P 500 is we had a pop as U.S. President Donald Trump praised the market in part during his pretty long speech here at Davos. It's worth noting he is still at Davos, though, guys. At 1 p.m., he's going to be sitting for an interview with CNBC's Joe Kernan. That's going to be between 1 and 2 p.m. Of course, I'll sit here and keep you guys posted if there's any update there. Another thing that's been happening all day and is continuing to happening as of right now with rebuttal arguments are these oral arguments in the Lisa Cook Donald Trump case to see basically whether President Trump is able to remove Fed's Governor Lisa Cook based on his Truth Social Post announcement before any kind of cause has been adjudicated. One thing I have to talk about as well are earnings reports. We've had a whole bunch of them today. Netflix, Charles Schwab, Johnson & Johnson, Halliburton, etc. But NFLX, probably the most noteworthy by far of all of these. Netflix revenue reaching new highs, or annual highs here anyway, around $45 billion for fiscal 2025, though the company did guide a little bit weaker than expected for Q1 2026. Again, we have to keep an eye on Intel that's going to be coming up after the bell tomorrow. INTC rallying the last couple of days, but potentially in participation for that report. So we're going to have to, anticipation for that report. So keep an eye here on INTC. Tomorrow before the bell, we'll get GE, General Electric, and PG, Procter & Gamble. Before we send you over to Neil, we have to take a moment to thank our friends at Origenics. Millions of concussions, 0 approved therapies. Origenics, trading on the NYSE as OGEN, is advancing a new standard with its intranasal brain-first approach to concussion treatment. With an $8.9 billion market on the horizon, Origenics is positioned to drive what comes next. So see what's ahead and book a meeting today. Without further ado, make sure to like and subscribe as we send you over to Neil and a lesson of the day. Neil, what is the lesson?
It's the Hulk smash. I mean, I just heard both Sharif and, well, it wasn't just now, but it was maybe like 20, 30 minutes ago. I think Sharif was saying you smashed that, Obi, and Obi was like, oh, I didn't have as many shares as I wanted, so it's not a smash. So I'm just going to differentiate between two things, because I think there's always two ways that you can grade a trade, and one, it kind of sucks, but it's going to end up mattering more than the other. But let's I'm going to show you something that looks really good. And when you smash a trade, you can look at the individual opportunity that it is, right? So what I would say is, okay, so short at VWAP on IBIT looks really good, right? Like short to here, it's effectively, I'm getting like about 80 short and you're risking like 10 to 15 pennies, not even covering till it goes first percent. Now, a little bit of this is fluke. When the market was absolutely falling all over itself, it was easy to cancel bid and just see where they start bidding it up again. And there was really nobody stepping into it, so it was kind of free falling in Bitcoin for reasons I'm not even sure of at this point. But it was just happening. So risk to reward, it looks absolutely fantastic. And the short into VWAP also looks absolutely fantastic. Like in terms of an actual, like the trade, risk to reward, great, smash. However, the way I sort of see it is, well, for a trade that clean, was that my best Bitcoin short of the last month, or let's just say the last couple of months? And the answer is no. Cleanest, yes. Best, no. Why? Because I didn't get it all in. Unfortunately, because I missed an obvious reload up here. There's just all sorts of little things. And then on top of that, it needs to be multiples, because this is the real definition of a smash. And no matter what anyone tells you, I actually think a trade structure-wise is the first part. Whether you have something that works risk to reward, certainly if you can win 50% of the time, be up on it, that kind of a thing is going to be good. Judge the trade by the decisions are good. That is a very good starting point. But the single most important thing that's going to matter to your actual profitability when trading is when you get a smash trade, you're like, oh, this is a huge trade. Oh, this is a big trade. Look at it. It's obvious. The result of that needs to be bigger than when I lose on that setup or that stock. So for me, why I'm not pleased with this is I did not make 3, 4x when I lose on IBIT. I didn't. I basically made like 1.5. That doesn't cut it. That's good, but if it's that clean and it's that big, it needs to be multiples, and that's sort of the way that I judge myself oftentimes. It's actually frustrating in a certain regard, and the reason that matters is I can tell you with 100% honesty. There was a WFC trade, blah, 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 after their earnings, and it was like one opening rush trade that was perfectly clean. Like that one short that was perfectly clean where I did get everything that I wanted, literally made up for every single losing trade for the rest of the week. And you need that to be true when you smash one. That's why I understand exactly what Obi was talking about. When you have something that is perfect, and you get it, and the entries are good, and the setup is perfect, and then everything worked out, I want that to be 5, 6, 7x my losses on that type of a setup. Or it's just you need to make it bigger. And it's not to say you can't be happy about a good trade. I have no issues with that. But when you're aiming for long-term consistency and you're trying to make money as a trader, you really need to be capitalizing, because one of the things that gets traders in trouble is, if you look back and sort of look at their month or look at their quarter, and then you're just simply looking at the extremes on the P&L side, right? Like you're looking at what are my 2 or 3 biggest winners, my 2 or 3 biggest losers. That ends up being the problem. It's like, yeah, they got some nice winning trades, but what's going on here? Those aren't multiples of the biggest losing trades. And that's what you want to have happen, especially when you get one right or get one perfect. So I understand. I know I sound critical of myself all the time when I'm discussing trades, and I know Obi comes off as that way as well. But you know what? That's the price of consistency and profitability. It sometimes requires you to do that, because I would love to tell you that I'm happy with my result on IBIT, but I'm not. I could lie to you and be like, oh my God, look how freaking great that short is, was a perfect entry. No, I left 3x on the table in this trade. It's that simple. I missed my confirmation. I even said it when I got into this reversion short. Okay, like there's the break of the trend. When it gives me the confirmation, I did not get my ad, and then it came right back up, and I just refused to add again. I don't know, was I gun shy? it was trending up as opposed to, I can try to come up with excuses. Yesterday it just trended down, so I shorted a bajillion times because it never trended up. So maybe I was a little gun shy because of that. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day. Like, that's something that I just wanted to be able to improve on. And then so the rest is going to be history. So make sure when you are judging your trades, or at least defining them, hey, smash is great. It's always a good start to have a perfect or really good execution. But the other side of the coin is, well, did you get everything you needed out of it? Because what does that look like when it loses? And if the answer is, I'm just going to throw out some numbers for you, and I'm going to use terms that used to happen around here on the trading floor. Like, there was always this want to get a G note on the day. And what it basically came down to is, like, if you netted like $1,000 based on the commissions and blah, 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 like at that point you were, okay, if you make a G a day, then you're more than doing well on the trading floor. And so what would end up happening is people would have that as their litmus test. And oftentimes there were two types of traders. There were the ones that on a good day, they're breaking the grand, but they're averaging $500, $600, $700 a day, that kind of a thing. But when they're losing, they're not putting in 4-digit losses. Those were the profitable traders. The traders that would, and oftentimes, weirdly enough, they were the ones that would hit the G the most, that would hit that G note and do it maybe 5-6 times a month. The issue would be they would have losing days of 2, 2.5, 3 downside. And even if in a 20-day month you have 4 or 5 G note days, how many losing days where you got waxed do you need to give them all up if you're 2, 3x? Not many. So they had a razor thin margins when they were on a hot streak, great, but if they were on the slightest down streak, they were in a world of hurt, everybody. And I think that's the thing that you got to keep in mind. One more note, I just want to, look, I'm just going to go quickly to an individual stock here before I throw back to the midday guys, because I've been talking about Bitcoin and how it's falling, but the market is absolutely getting smoked. And I just want to point out, Palantir, I was joking around about the 200 period moving average the other day. It's not a joke now. This stock is within 2 percentage points of testing the 200 period moving average on the daily. This ain't just about crypto that's falling in here. You have a lot of names coming in, some pretty key levels coming, but just make sure you judge your trades the best that you can, everybody, and appreciate the kind words to Save Man Woman. That's the value of the show. Everyone has their different styles. But I heard that out of Obi, and I was like, I like that. I like that he keeps that perspective, and you can see it in the consistency, Obi. I know I see it anyways. But good luck, everybody. It's getting nasty out there in this market. The fact that we're going to have a reversal again and could go red, that is not good.
Sure. That is wisdom embodied right there, kind of an extension of what you were talking about. Great to have you guys on, man. You guys are, I'm getting wiser through osmosis. All right, let's get to this one. We got 88s on NAM. It's showing me 08s right now. We're looking for a continuation breakout. We've cleared 2. And the bamboozlement is, look, everything has every one of these small cap gappers has some form of bamboozlement, but you like when you see stuff like this, when a big move up and then you come back in, you get a double bottom hold off the 10 EMA on the 5, and then you clear 2 decisively. But that's not a good looking topping tail candle that we're putting in right now. So the stop moves to break even. Now, here's the deal. If we do lose 2, I'm going to look for a trend structure hold. What does that mean? That means I want it to hold at the 10 EMA on the 5 if we lose that $2 level. If we don't, if we continue moseying up, taking out 210, then chances are we see 250, 2 mid, whatever, 30, 60, something like that. Let's just do a quick daily to get a kind of a feel. So obviously we are above all these levels. So we could be seeing something in the realm of around $3. Seems to have a lot of support at $3 or resistance at $3 on the daily. So keeping a close eye here on NAMM. It's the best looking small cap gapper for me right now, Ob.
Guys, let me ask you this. If someone handed you $1.25 million to trade, would your process change or just your upside? That's the opportunity Funded Futures Network provides. They're a futures prop firm that gives traders access to large SIM and live funded accounts every day. They've already paid millions to traders around the world with fast same-day and daily payouts. And right now, evaluation accounts are 50% off, buy one, get one free, and no activation fees. You can find the link below or scan the QR code to go check it out. All right, guys, market's taking another leg down here, and guess what? Google did get to its VWAP, so target acquired. Target achieved there. AMD as well, pulling right back in. SanDisk, here we go. That's the one. That's coming in now as well. So a little bit of a late one to the party here. Micron, you're probably coming down as well. Oh boy, this is looking absolutely beautiful. Let's take a look at the rest of the market here. Yeah, NVIDIA continuing to go. We were watching that Apple daily breakdown. Man, this thing sometimes just moves like molasses relative to its friends. Hasn't really extended that far away from its low day breakdown, only about 0.4% here. But Amazon is also breaking down as well. You can see consolidation. While the market was maybe attempting to hold that 52,200, but we're taking strong legs to the downside right here, Sharif. Almost a back through open here on the market. Wow. So 100% reversion, a V-shape recovery, as some like to call it, here on the market. There was a name that I was watching, and I borrowed shares for it this morning because it was going absolutely crazy, Sharif. Lucid Group.
I've heard. People keep saying it in the chat.
Look at this. This thing ran up 13% and another 14 for a total of 14% on the second leg, all the way up to 1135s. Currently just consolidating sideways. Does not give a hoot about what the rest of the market is doing right now. So 1097's consolidation lows, just chopping sideways with a high of, what is that, 1011s, 1013s, let's get specific, 1113s right there. So let's see, Lucid, I don't know, I wanted to short it, but it's showing absolute relative strength right now with respect to the market, so I might stay away. There are better shorts on watch in play. And I'm not looking for something that's, you know, it's not a good short. It's not like a short like Apple. Like, it's not really doing anything too crazy. But NVIDIA is coming in almost to its opening prices as well. So that might be something interesting. Let's take a quick look at NVIDIA here. Opening price, where are you? What are you? Opening price of the 930 candle is coming in at a clean 179.05s. Currently trading at 179.41s, but opening range lows, you can see buyers maybe stepping in here at 178.70s. So a little bit of a chop here in the opening range, but we've entered the opening range here on NVIDIA, and let's see if we can get all the way back down to the opening prices and maybe even break day lows, Sharif. This is making a straight beeline to the downside. So sellers back on again on the day today. We saw that gap down coming in yesterday. We got bought up once again here off of the open, but giving it all back, and then we'll see if I'll be able to say and then some after we get back from that.
Just before we go to Adara, guys, NAMM is taking out highs as we speak. Into 21 it goes. We're looking for continuation here into $3 on NAMM. Separately, I need to tell you guys about AMDL, because AMDL just got to VWAP, 21.22 high, dropping to $20. I'm not going to try to catch a falling knife, but I'm going to watch to see if the buyers are stepping in at VWAP right now, because we have a lot of room to move back up. So AMDL and NAMM. There goes NAMM into another high now. It's up 133%. The breakout is on right now on this one. Keep your eye on it. We're going to the big desk.
Microsoft at low of day, guys. MSFT week alongside the rest of the market. A brief note, probably nothing major, but maybe something to be aware of. Looks like Microsoft is investigating issues here that are impacting Microsoft 365 services. So Microsoft here, MSFT with some service issues, it looks like. Back to you.
Very much, yeah. No, that will definitely add some more fuel to the fire when it's already burning. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Where's, you know, I'm thinking about it. Where's the next trade? This selling has been pretty aggressive. Maybe we take a bid, right? Maybe we look for the buyers to step back in. This is where the buyers stepped in off of the open with aggression, right? We went all the way from 25.200s to 25.55s, 25.500s. So that's on the Nasdaq. So let me do a quick scan of the top volume gainers. I'm also, of course, I'm watching this Google here. We're holding that VWAP, so that got to one of the targets if you had VWAP as a target, but we'll quickly go to the volume gainers on the day. And hey, yo, there's Intel coming in at first place, still holding higher, 53s now. Slow and steady wins the race.
Tell them what you were telling me earlier.
Slow, smooth as fast.
You know where I remember the first time I've ever heard that was, you ever watch Modern Family? You know Phil?
No,
one of the dads in Modern Family.
Yeah,
it's hilarious. So he's saying it one time. It always reminds me of him every time I hear that.
I mean, it's a good saying. Sometimes I like to kind of repeat it to myself in stressful situations.
Yeah.
But
it's good.
Yeah, I mean, it's a mantra.
I appreciate it.
All right, so NVIDIA is number 2. ONDS, man, this one has been running for a couple of days. Well, yesterday it was definitely running, and then running to the downside on Friday. So I guess it's not really running. This is not the one that I was thinking about. But okay, so yesterday we had a strong day. Selling coming in pretty aggressively since 10:21, so much before the market started to sell off, almost an hour before the market started to sell off. This already had broken. Look at this, that's beautiful. Opening range low breakdown, pre-market low breakdown, does not look back from any of those. Sure, the volume's been dropping off, but in between, we were seeing strong spikes to kind of even that out, where we have pretty much slowly decreasing volume on the day, coming almost back into prior days open here. Reverted a decent chunk of this action, but we've been in this range. So I see right here, right off the bat, 15s couldn't get through, maybe step down into 14s, 14s can't get through, and now we're attempting to maybe break the low of the range. I have no idea. Netflix coming in at 4th place, Sharif. Earnings day 1 was the name of the game today, and sold off right into that area of support from prior, 81s, 82s. 82s was clean off of the opening print here. So low off of on the 930 candle is sitting at 81.93. So just wicks that 82 prior support, and then off to the races. It was very, very choppy, very aggressive. Again, was not easy to try to take inventory through the opening range highs. You can see how every candle overlaps each other pretty decently. But again, whenever things get a little choppy, I just like to go up a time frame. I'm like, if the 1 minute, if the 1 minute's too choppy, if the second charts are too choppy, if the 3 minute chart is too choppy, let's move up to the 5. Let's move up to 15.
Let's do it.
Right? Sure, your risk your risk might get wider, but you don't have to deal with the headache of all that chop when you're using higher time frame structures. So Netflix was absolutely beautiful. Both the long and the short. Tried the long, short came in quite nicely, as well as seller step it right back down after some balance. SLGB, Smart Logics. I mean, you were smart and logical if you played this in the pre-market session long, but right off of the open, man, this thing straight to the downside. Here, what do you got for us, Sharif?
I got to tell them about PDS Biotechnology, guys. It trades actually under the Nasdaq under ticker PDSB, and they're transforming how the immune system targets and fights cancer with initial focus on that HPV-16 positive head and neck cancer. HPV-16 actually can cause head and neck cancer, and more people are facing these high-risk cancers, sadly, than ever before. HPV-16 positive head and neck cancers are projected to become the most common type of head and neck cancer in the U.S. in a few years. If you want to learn more, you need to check them out at www.pdsbiotech.com. Shout out to them. All right, we're doing it live right now on AMDL, but we're kind of out of the money. So here's the deal. This is a volume-weighted average price / $20 area psychological support. We're in at 9s. It's showing me 6s. I've wet the beak a couple of times into the 20s, but there's no continuation, nor is there a break of the lower high trend. So look, I'm going to draw my line in the sand. It triggers at 1998. We're out. Simple as that. Until I start seeing that change in tune, that change in trend. Well, what am I talking about? Well, I want to see higher lows and higher highs on the 5-minute chart. Why do I want to see it? What is that telling me? Well, that's telling me that buyers are overwhelming sellers incrementally. That higher low doesn't happen by accident. That higher high doesn't happen by accident either. It has to be an equilibrium shift into the buyers as opposed to the sellers. So we're not seeing that at the moment. I just took a shot in the dark. I'm like, hey, VWAP, $20 area. You're not risking all that much. It loses 20 bucks. You're out 9 pennies. all right, we'll give it a try. And we already wet the beak here, but it doesn't mean that if I'm wrong on this trade, it loses a side chart position. No, if it starts changing, as I mentioned, higher highs and higher lows off that key level, AKA the volume weighted average price, your boy gets right back in. So that's AMDL. Now let's get back into NAMM. This one, ugly, ugly topping tail candle into 228, now back down into 9s. We had this one, I believe, at 79, then we added at 88. We've been wetting the beak up into 20, keeping an eye on this one. I had a bias that this one weasels on down into that $2 area, you know, maybe even a bit deeper into the mid to low 190s where the 10 EMA on the 5 is hanging out. Doesn't look like it's going to do that quite yet. This current 5-minute candle is a bamboozler, though, and let me explain why. So we're always looking, you know, for higher highs or lower lows, whatever. We're looking for trend. This candle here has a lower high and also a lower low as compared to the topping tail inverse hammer candle that closed at 12.15 on the 5. So right now, this candle, you know, if it engulfs the prior candle would be awfully bullish, but it's got to take out 228 to do that, right? Because it'll have kind of ensconced it from the low side and then the high side if it does that. It hasn't done that now. So all this candle is showing us is a lower high and a lower low, despite the fact that it's a bottoming tail candle, which typically means buyer exuberance. Why is a bottoming tail candle, buyer friendly? Because it's showing you that even though the price dropped into this case 205, buyers were super quick to step up and buy it up, right? Do they have enough juice though to take out the sellers at prior bar high? And so that's what we're talking about. All right, so we're going to keep a close eye here on NAMM. NAMM looks really good. It's above the 10 EMA, above 2, above VWAP. It's got a lot going for it right now, but we're going to set up a little bit, hopefully set up a little bit better on that. So that's number one. Number two, I already talked about AMDL, nothing more to say about this. Now, I want to talk about GITS because, I've been thinking about adding, another tool to the playbook, so to speak, right? And only being long these small cap gappers kind of limits the opportunities that we have. And the reason I say that is, not every day we're going to have quadruple, triple digit winners or, high double digits. Not every day in the world of small cap gappers will that happen. There's going to be days where the pickings are slim. And those, sometimes they come in waves. You can go a couple of weeks where the best names you're looking at are 30, 40, 50%. So adding another, skill into your Arsenal, thank you. I should have known that, given that I'm an Arsenal fan, is not a bad idea. No, so going on with this thought, continuing this thought, GITS. Let's talk about this one. Clearly, a whole bunch of lower highs. That's not really up in question. And you can kind of draw a parallel trend line, right, which shows you that it's a bit of a downward channel. Some may argue, Sharif, that looks like a bull flag to me, even though it's lost VWAP. Well, you may be right. You'd know that if it decidedly breaks this trend line, and even more if it takes out that prior area high at 270. Until it does that, we're going to treat it as a loss of VWAP and a possible return, back into the area lows. 91 pennies the area low. So what am I saying here? So what I'm seeing is a stair step down in the same way that we see stair steps up. So look at this area low over here. From basically 1030 to the breakdown at 1105, we were using 220 as support. Now, since 1105 to currently, we're using 220 as resistance. So support flips to resistance, and it shows kind of like almost that stair step, that next, stair down. So why am I interested in this? Well, if this one loses 2, which is clearly using a support here, 195.2, this could be all the way down into that halt level at 157, right? And it looks very, very flat bottom breakish. The fact that all these candles close or open at the same level means that there's an algorithm or a trader that's clearly targeting that 195 area. Let me make my case. 1110, 195 close. 1115, 195 open. 1120, 195 close. 1125, 195 open. 1135, 195 close. So what's the trend preceding it? Well, it's a whole bunch of lower highs. So I'm liking this possibly for a flat bottom break. But what does that mean? That means I got to get shorts for this, right? Which is a whole other bag of other thing that we got to discuss. We'll do that later. But GITS here, below the volume weighted average price, that meets my requirements for a short, and it's doing a flat bottom with lower highs in and around 2. So I like this GITS for a possible short here. It's still up 80%. We'll see what the situation is on this one, but I'm going to keep watching it for a possible entry. Back to NAMM though. This one, I'm happy we didn't get into this because look, the candle that we were talking about that could have been engulfed ended up being a red candle, a red doji candle, and it's being preceded by a very, very bullish red candle at the moment. So I'm looking for a 2-hold. We don't get a 2-hold. We're looking for that 195, 10 EMA on the 5. If that loses as well, then you should be looking between 175 to 180 for the volume weighted average price. That's what I'm keeping my eye on NAMM. Otherwise, we're just basically holding break even here on AMDL as that one is doing nothing. SEWG, we had a good trade on this one. It's also losing the volume weighted average price in and around 230. It is, though, however, putting in still higher lows. If you look at every area trough, every subsequent trough higher than its predecessor. So be on the lookout for that. A decided break of this trend line probably means we revert back to the closing print, which is a $1.82. So SEWG in focus, NAMM in focus, GITS in focus, and then AMDL, obviously, I'm involved in that. Got to be focused on that.
Thank you very much, Sharif. All right, so some of you in the chat have asked to go over CoreWeave. We can do that right here. CoreWeave, 100 test happened just a couple days ago, 100 push right there. We could not hold above, guys. Gap down, consolidation. Today we're selling off even more. Now, of course, market tailwind, of course, doesn't help this out. But back below 90s. Now, so let's go to a higher time frame and take a look at what this thing has been doing. I know it's been pulling off of its highs, all-time highs, 188s. Great IPO and a great push of that opening, if you want to call this. Again, it's all fractal, right? Opening range high for the first week or so on CoreWeave was about $64. That breakout took us all the way to 188. So talk about an opening drive roughly in the first few months that lasted about from May to June. And it gave you 187%. Since then, we broke that trend, and since the break of that trend, we've been only making lower highs and lower lows. We attempt to push up a little bit higher here. 150s, maybe we look like we're kind of recovering or holding a bit higher, but that cracks as well on the consolidation low breakdown. 120s, maybe ultimately 114s, 115s, and then cracking lower here as well. So this was that prior level, Sharif. And then we ended up holding and consolidating below that, and that was in and around that $90 level. 85s I have here. Let's get a little specific. What were some of those wick lows? 84.40s.
My bad.
Yeah, and we're definitely getting a little physical with these levels now, Sharif, as we're pulling right back into this prior range high. So I like that, maybe. But a lot of these IPOs, man, they've been selling off quite decently, if I do say so. Not all of them holding up, except for FIGR. That one actually hit all-time highs just a couple of days ago. This one was the only one that didn't really have too much of a range off of the open. Okay. Right? Who would have figured? Sideways consolidation for multiple months. And then you get that range breakout on, when was this specifically? On January 5th, you get that range breakout, pull back into the top high of the range. So it gave you a couple of chances to interact with this range here. That was in and around $50 as well. Decent, maybe psychological confluence there. Okay. Gave us a high of 77s, but pulling back pretty aggressively on the day today too. Wow, this is absolutely beautiful. So opening range low break, boom, continuation. So another name. Let's check on our picks here.
Yes, sir.
See how they're doing, because I know I said that I started just a paper account tracking some of the names that I got long and short. Some of them might take longer than others, but let's go through some of those names and see how they're doing. Okay. We talked about pushing 10K into the name, so I was just like, all right, this account only has 30K. We're going to throw 10K into each of these positions at the closing prices of those days. Circle is continuing to push down. Wow, this one, I got to put an alert on this one, because 69 is the opening price on Circle. 64 is the all-time low on Circle. Take a look at how this one's been building on the daily chart, Sharif. Absolutely beautiful. So Bit of a chase here, right? But that breakdown, we're making almost a beeline for there. We'll have to see if this recent low at 64.92s breaks, but the opening range low from the first day was 64s flat. I remember that day as well. Kind of wicked down to 64s and then just slapped right up, and that was a great long off of the open as well. But structure breaking, we ripped all the way up to $298.99. So almost a 300 push. Lower highs, lower lows, and just structure breaking down. Very clearly, in my specific opinion, now I know nobody cares about my opinion, that's fine.
Well,
there's a market.
do. That's why you're here, brother.
I mean, I don't know about that. But 33 was the underwriter's price. And if the banks that underwrote the IPO want to defend any sort of a level, might be that price.
Yeah, good call.
Right? So all I'm trying to do is maybe bring this back to what I think is fair value. $70, in my opinion, maybe a little too overpriced. But again, who knows? I could be very wrong on this. We got the rest of the year. This could go all the way to 33 and then rip right back up to 100. Right? Who knows? BW was the other one. This one, bit of a pullback here. Again, letting it cook, letting it kind of build. Don't know if this one's going to work out as well as I thought, but you know, it is coming up into a resistance area. What I really liked on this one, on the weekly, Sharif, you can see expanding volume. So that I was using that as a bit of confluence there, maybe a push towards that $10. But we'll see if BW can make it all the way back to its former glory. Some crazy plunges this one took in 17 and 18, not so much 19. Right, wasn't really affected by too much of that action, but rounded bottom, potentially here, multiple years in that on that rounded bottom. So, and then the last one, SIDU. Now, of course.
Oh, that's your fave right there.
I mean, I don't know if it's my favorite, but this one's going to take a lot of work to kind of bring it back down.
What do they do?
But I have no idea.
Yeah, no idea.
I like the chart.
Yeah.
So
I even know.
Yeah, it's that's way above my pay grade.
No, it's like, if it's a good news headline, the price action will continue high. If it's not, if it's bogus, in the world of small cap gappers anyway, it'll go down right away. Yeah. So, you know,
but here's the thing, this one,
waste your time
I think
reading the news.
A lot of time. I think this one's going to take a lot of time because there's a lot of participation. It's a space name. So this year might be the year of space stocks.
Oh yeah,
and this could absolutely, if this kind of traps around, this could absolutely blast and squeeze. Right. Right. So another name in this sector is ASTS, and I think this was one of Ramin's picks. Yep. Yeah, I think she's actually doing. Let's pull up that what do you call it, that leaderboard here. What's that? What? Hang on. Okay.
Stand by, he says.
Stand by. Okay. We'll wait and see. So Fabian has made this amazing summary of everyone's positions and everyone's where they're sitting at, and there's a leaderboard on there for all of the picks. All of the picks. Yeah. Okay. And I've been checking out every now and then. Ramin, last I checked, was on number 1 for 5 days.
Wow.
Total. All right. So I've been given the go for being able to open this here. So let's pull this up right here and see how everyone is doing. So tracker right now. Okay, so Adara is in the lead with about 8% change.
Bye-bye, Oracle.
Bye-bye, Oracle. Yeah, we'll take a look at Oracle in a second, Adara. Adara had a very, very confident analysis on Oracle, and I kind of looked into their stuff too, and I was just like, yeah, some of the stuff that they're pulling is a little fugazi. So we'll continue to see what kind of action Oracle brings to the table. That's me in second place right now, and Fabian coming in third place. Sharif, you're right there, number 4 right here as well. And then I didn't even know, what's that? Please talk about the last 3 people. I'm going through all of them, Sean. I'm going through all of them. Mateo, I didn't even know Mateo was in this. And then we got Ramin here. Ramin was falling from her glory. She was number 1 place for 4 days. And I think that was almost 4 days straight there. But yeah, a little bit of sell-off in some of those names. And then we got Joe coming in at 7. Lucky
he's
number
watching
7.
too, baby.
I know. Is he watching right now? I hope so.
Back and forth
but again, guys, it's only been the first month. Things can change. Things change every single day. Things can get blasted or rip higher or lower. We never know, but this is just, we're in the early stages of this. Sean coming in at number 8 right here. Brendan coming in right there at a 6.5. Neil with a 6.75. And then the chat. Oh boy, come on, guys.
Boy.
7.7%. What was it? What were the chat's picks? I'm curious to know. What were the chat's picks? Tesla, Nvidia, and BBAI.
Oh
boy. All right. Okay. I mean, the market has been pulling back. We still got a long time. Again, I've shown you guys the chart for the market, just the spider, the 6-month and the 12-month. We are in a much bigger time frame uptrend, and I'm looking for this year to close green as well. So we'll see. Tesla and Nvidia might slap right back up by the end of the year. Who knows? This was the summary was really cool here. So a lot of lines, but you can see who's been kind of in the lead over time. And I think this gray right here, this was Ramin's 5 days of fame here. Ooh. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I think 4 days. It said 5 last time I checked, but holding the lead there for a little bit. But yeah, it's an interesting what do you call race here of our picks. So thank you, Fabian, for making that great visualizer there. For all of our positions, not necessarily positions, but picks for what we think is going to happen by the end of the year there. And I'm keeping a close eye on some of these as well. Not involved at all with any real account just yet. Circle, I might be looking at through that 69, I'll be honest. Yep. But we'll wait and see. ASTS, man, has been on a solid run. Oh yeah, we were going to take a look at Oracle there. So let's see how this one's been doing, man. This one on the weekly, we'll go straight to a weekly chart, straight to the downside. In a bigger picture, trend break as well. Wow, we've got room to go, Adara. 120s is the next support here, and we're trading at 170s. And here's the thing here's something that you don't see all the time. Stronger volume on the downside than we had on the upside. That's convincing as well. Good pick on that one. All right, so where is the next trade? Let's look for the next one here. Lucid still holding, man. LCID. I'm waiting and watching this one. I already have some shares borrowed. I might not even be able to or get to use them today. There was one moment where I was like, all right, this is a great short coming in on the initial sign of sellers. But Sharif, that came all the way into VWAP, and buyer stepped right back in for a push up into 1130s. And we're holding, consolidating, and it's been over half of the day, roughly. So I'm going to leave that one alone for now. We'll wait and see if that potentially comes in. Google. Lucky covers, we were holding VWAP right now, still trading in and around 327. So yeah, this structure plus confluence with some of prior day's highs as well, maybe confluence with some of Friday's prior week lows at the same time. Was it prior week lows? No, prior week lows are coming in at 325s. All right, we didn't get quite down to there, but we've had a lot of other levels that were probably a little significant since they're on Google, but the market also catching a bit of a bid here off of, what is this, 25.150, so 25.2s. We're still chilling in and around there. So let me know in the chat, what are you guys looking at? Nat Gas, Trader 6 saying, yes, UNG was one of my top names on the watch list this morning. So let's take a quick look at what Nat Gas did over the morning. So let's see how our friend Henry Hub is doing right here. And we can take a look at what the action in the pre-market was. So yesterday, had that gap up, and I was like, I'm looking for the long. All day long, consolidation, comes in the pre-market session. But these futures they trade all around, so there's no real if it's doing volume, it's doing volume, right? So the move happens off the consolidation break in the pre-market session for a 23% run straight to the upside, Sharif. Wow. That was probably the best trade. Prior day high breakout, or this session consolidation breakout right here, $4 breakout as well. However you want to look at it. Natural gas. Straight to the upside, but sideways consolidation, man, just trading within that range since the open. So I was looking at it. Maybe if you're looking at a shorter time frame, the short came in nice off of a potential $5 rejection there in the pre-market. You can see the high was $4.95 in the open session. 497.8, so a bit of a failure to follow through, false break maybe, who knows? But it's consolidating and stepping up higher, bigger picture. This is a bigger picture trade. I even said this yesterday.
Yep.
Because it was sideways chop. I'm like, this might unfold over the next few days. It doesn't have to happen in the intraday session.
Right.
Right? So UNG was the vehicle that I was looking at this morning to take a potential trade for the continuation. I was very long biased, and that trade did not come in, Sharif. We tried to hold VWAP, and that once that VWAP was let go, we got a decent move to the downside, 3% down from 13, what is that, 40s, 50s? 1350s, nice, 1350 opening range low breakdown on UNG gives us a low of 1311s. It's traded about 37.75 million shares on the day today. So I was definitely watching Nat Gas there for whoever called it out in the chat. IBRX. I know that one's been showing up on a few scanners. Immunity Bio here. Nothing too crazy for me. Sideways chop, still trading within the opening range, or attempted to break out, attempting to maybe push it once again here. But nothing too crazy for me right now. PLTR has no strength recently, saying trade sniper. Are you telling me something here about Palantir? Because I'm looking for the backside. Trust me, I am. Okay. You know what? Sharif.
Yes, sir.
We looked at Netflix here yesterday, and I was like, multiple year run on Netflix, and it started behaving differently, and then it started to crack and start to be very, very seller dominant. Does this action look distinctly different to you than it has been since about 2024 to 25? Look at the range on these bars.
Crazy.
It's crazy. Let's step up. It's kind of choppy, so let's step up a time frame here. Let's go to the monthly.
Sure.
Oh boy. Take a look at this. Maybe it's time for Palantir Palantir longs to get a little bit defensive. You know what I mean? As the trend breaks. Hey, man, just looking at the chart here. Just looking at the chart. We can even step up even higher. Let's go to the 3-month.
Okay.
Oh, boy. So this range right here on the 3-month, high at 207.50s, lows at 147.50s. It's a bit of a range, but the legs are pretty strong. And we've been holding prior bar on the 3-month chart here. So that low break, 150 confluence. I'm just going to put up an alert right here. Throw up that alert, Obi. Thank you. 150 is going to be key level for me. Like I said before, this thing has been absolutely strong. It's gone on an epic run, generational run.
Generational.
For the past 2 years, coming on to 3.
It's been a while. It's been substantial.
So is it too far, too fast? Perhaps. I mean, I
don't know, man.
Almost a cult following on this one, right?
It is. I think the world is rearming in a way, and AI is, infiltrating into the software side in a way where, there's definitely going to be some pullback.
But the question is, has it already been priced in? That's a parabolic move, dude.
I know, but right? I think that what's priced in are the contracts that they've announced. I think it's possibly the contracts that they get in the future. Have you seen how accretive to value their AIP platform is? It's insane. Yeah. It goes into your system. So you're a legacy company. Let's just say, I don't know, who's around here? TD, okay? Yeah. TD wants.
Love the TD building, by the way.
It's not bad.
Have you seen it?
Of course.
It's just all like black on black.
It's so.
They tower over everything else. Like we are a real bank.
Yeah. So they goes into TD system. It basically understands how the workflow happens, how the system operates on its own without user input, and then starts making recommendations, autonomous recommendations as to how you can increase efficiencies, what processes to remove, what controls to add. It's insane, right? Now, you're going to have to prove that the money is coming in there, but the way that I like it, you can't wait for confirmation on a lot of these investments. Yeah. A lot of it has to do with putting up risk, right?
Of course. I mean, people have been putting on risk, but I think all of that is great, but have you seen the chart?
The chart, absolutely. That speaks different volumes. Right?
Like, here's the thing. A company can do all of these things, and they can be great, but what move, I think, I was talking to Sean about this a couple of days ago as well. Like, what moves prices? And Lance had a great post about this.
Yep.
What actually moves prices? And he mentions 3 things.
Go ahead.
I think it was liquidity, positioning, and sentiment.
Okay.
Right? Not necessarily what the company actually does. It's what the people think.
That's fair.
Right? So those are the 3 things that'll move move stocks. And I'm going to get back to this chart right after we get back from Adara, but ANF reminds me a lot of the run that PLTR has had. What's up, Adara?
So to let you guys know here, U.S. President Trump now speaking yet again at Davos. Again, he's supposed to be interviewed by Joe Kernan of CNBC between 1 and 2. Now, with about 13 minutes before that window opens, he is speaking with business leaders at the World Economic Forum. This is about an hour and a half after this was supposed to start. It was supposed to start just before 11:30. I also want to let you guys know, yeah, we'll go to Sharif over here for the ad read. Just be aware here, exit TTV Research. New infographic series coming out here right now for Netflix and its performance at the Oscars. This will be coming out over the next couple of days and weeks. Back to you.
All right, guys, let's tell them over here, guys. Beta Pro by Global X Canada. Savvy Canadian traders, are you looking to boost your exposure? You can now tap into the Nasdaq 100, the S&P 500 with Beta Pro 3x daily leveraged ETFs. They feature, guys, built-in FX hedging, which aims to amplify, your short-term market moves as well as minimizing the impact of those pesky currency swings. So, whether you're feeling bullish or bearish, these ETFs are built for active day traders that are ready to take on the market. You need to read, though, the full risk disclosure in the prospectus at betapro.ca before investing. Shout out to the great folks at Global X Canada. No, but Ob, you were bringing up a fantastic point, brother.
Look at this one.
Go ahead.
Right, this is a 3-month chart on ANF. This one went on that crazy run, and I was just like, what's going on here? They're not a defense company. They make great clothes. Don't get me wrong.
Sia, don't you have ANF? Didn't you invest in ANF? Yeah, I remember you telling me you got into ANF.
So,
all right, go ahead.
So this is a 3-month chart, and we went on a parabolic run on ANF. I remember this on the weekly. I was like, what is happening here? Why is this up? When I look at PLTR, yes, they do a lot of great things.
Right.
Makes sense. But why is it moving in that kind of manner? Because of the way people are positioning in, because of the sentiment around what they do.
But don't you think the sentiment is determined by, to some extent, the fundamentals?
Sure, yeah. But here's the thing: people put their money where their mind and their mouth.
Fair.
And that is going to be described to you by volume and price action on the chart.
Bang.
Right? Right here. This is a 3-month low breakdown on ANF. That was at 130. Look at how it got slapped down to 66s. Over a 50% reversion coming in on the prior bar break. That's all I'm saying. Prior bar break on the 3-month on PLTR could be significant. That's around $150. What's up?
Keep an eye here on LAES. This one popping nicely here from lows with Paradigm, thinking this one could go 10x. Again, Paradigm calling LAES or Seals Q Corp, which I believe is kind of in that quantum space. They think this is a 10x long idea. They say that it appears to have entered, quote unquote, the money zone. So a nice look here for LAES. If I get any more details on this, I'll let you know. I believe they were supposed to have been participating in a conference either today or yesterday. So LAES on watch. Back to you.
Very much.
All right, guys, let's have a look. All right, there's really nothing going on in the world of small cap gappers. NAMM continues to put in lower lows and lower highs. SEGGs breaking down below VWAP. What I'm looking at now is PAVM. The fact that it's holding $20 like this, and for the most part, it's holding 21 in this very flat line. And in fact, it's been in this kind of consolidative position with marginally lower highs, by the way. I want to say since that down halt at 11:25, it is almost 1 o'clock. So I've seen this story before where this kind of big small cap gapper is well off the highs like this one is, and then finds a bit of a base only to rock it up in the more liquid time of the day. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to build a position into this. So I'm going to get in the range high here, which is kind of by default. I don't have really a choice based on the price action. And I'm going to set up these DCAs within the current range. Okay, the current range for me is about 20.75 or 20 2/3. And wow, it's already going. No way, man. I didn't even get to build my position, bro. What are you doing? Go back down. Oh, boy. All right, we're going to have to set up profit takers because it looks like it might be going. Anyway, we'll see if this one can kind of drop back down or what the situation is. So let me set up my dip trades on it first, okay, which I want. So I have 57s. All right, good. So we're going to go into the low 21s. And then we're going to also look to defend into that $0.75 area. So let's go ahead and do that.
And then we're going to put just like that. So then we're building up the range. Now, if this one ends up breaking out above 22, I got to have something in order to wet the beak. So we're going to go ahead and set up at 22.25 for a possible profit taker. So what my thinking is on PAVM is I want to build up my position within this current established range, all knowing full well that we are putting in lower highs, but we're substantially above the volume weighted average price. For a possible move into the more liquid time of the day, maybe 24, 25, wherever this one feels inclined to end up at. We know the high of the day. That's not a secret. It's 28.44. So I've got 57s on right now, but I have a couple of DCAs. If it loses 20, I'm out, okay? And it'll be a bigger loss for me, obviously, which is fine. There we go. We just got a DCA. Now we have 44s on. So let's see if we can get that kind of lower end of the range. I'm waiting at 82s. It's showing me 06s, so not quite yet right now on PAVM. So this is a trade I don't typically take, but I'm going to give this one a try. I am alive to the lower highs. It's just really about whether we're going to get bamboozlement through 20. That's what concerns me, because there are a couple of bottoming tail candles, kind of doji looking candles, specifically at 1150 and 1215 on the 5-minute chart that do breach those levels, but they're quickly recovered, right? There's no way for me to know whether it's going to get recovered or not, so I have to stop out, to employ sound risk management skills. So that's what I'm keeping my eye on. Also, AMDL is catching a bit of a bid. A beautiful hold off the volume weighted average price, and it looks like it might make its way back into that 20.50, 20.25 right now. It's what it's showing. Great hold at that $20 area, which overlapped with the volume weighted average price. So good continuation on AMDL. 21.22 is the high of the day. It's showing the $0.25 right now. It's a little bit above the 10 EMA on the 5. $30 takes out the, 30 pennies, $20.30 takes out the 20 EMA on the 5, which is a little bit higher than the 10 EMA at the moment. So keep your eye here on AMDL. Could be a great VWAP hold and possibly a move back into that $0.50. And if it gets really aggressive, the whole dollar at 21. So we're going to keep close eyes here on AMDL for a nice move back up. Whether or not I might get into this, let's see. Are we seeing aggressive selling here at the $0.25, or what's the situation? So keeping a close eye on this. I did try to build a position into this, but I kept getting stopped out through 20. Partly my fault, obviously, well, all my fault, because I had my stop a little bit too close to 20. So some of these, liquidity grabs, let's call them that, through 20 ended up stopping me out. But we would have had a good position on had it not been for that. But that's on me. Keep my eye on this one. I'm looking for a reclaim of that 20-30 area, and then maybe we'll get back in. But for the moment, we're going to be focusing on PAVM. Over here, 44 is on, showing me 18, but we're out of the money, looking for a hold of this general range and a move back into 22 and possibly above on this bad boy. So we're going to keep a close eye on this one and see if we can do it live. This one is super spready. 21.60 on the bid. It just showed me 20.99, so it's a 61 penny spread as we speak right now on PAVM. That needs to factor in to your risk management and your strategy, right? Resting orders, sizing, giving it a bit more room through certain areas where there is illiquidity. So keeping an eye on this one as it moves back into that 75 penny area. We've got 2 of the 3 entries that I've earmarked, but we'll see what this one ends up doing. My first profit taker is above 22 at 22.25. So that's what I'm keeping my eye on right now, guys. PAVM, this is still the #1 gapper in the market, up 247%, at least for the stocks that are trading above $1. I'm not really sure about anything below that dollar level, as I do filter my scanner to 85 pennies. So I know we have to start the new segment soon, but as soon as I think we can wait another 5 minutes or so and see kind of how this trade, ends up resolving. Watching here, 75 seller again on PAVM. That's the second time. Okay, 22. It could break out now. Let's see if it goes into the $0.25. And there it goes into 40. There's 50s. All right, good position here that we have right now. Let's see, continue. There's 23. The breakout feels like it's on right now on PAVM
at least it's taken out prior area highs, okay? So now we're gonna go, we got 21.26, it's showing me 21.50, we're going 23.25. Let's see if it can take out 23. It's done this before, guys. It's topping tailed and dropped right back into the range, and that is what it's doing again, dropping right back into that range. Now let's see if the shorts were luring us in, right? Because we've seen this before, specialist breakouts and breakdowns, right? Where you break prior bar high or prior area high only to be lured in, and then the short is on, right? So keep your eye out on that. There's 22 again. I'm looking for 23.25. Doesn't look like it's gonna be forthcoming at the moment, especially with the spread, but PAVM looking like it might be changing its tune just a bit, Hero, but I don't want to call it and jinx it. What do you got?
Yes, sir. Yeah, no, PAVM, man, I know someone that was trading it this morning. Those swipe downs, those were
Algo boys?
If you were,
Is it my boy Ben?
No, just one of my pod members there.
Okay.
Those swipes were absolutely nasty there. I haven't talked to Ben about it just yet. But
I like Ben. He trades some of these small caps.
Yeah, they definitely.
Degen like myself.
He's definitely trying those out there for sure. But yeah, no, I think some of those I like to keep away, man. Especially if it's not, like we talked about, the better ones are in the pre-market. So what I'm realizing 100%. I'm studying right now is just like, if I'm not up at like 5 o'clock, and here I think we get access here at 6 a.m., which is I think it's kind of ridiculous because
gotta be above that.
Blue Ocean is open till literally 4 a.m. I can trade Blue Ocean till 4 a.m. if I wanted to, and I have some days. And then you take a gap for what, like 2 hours?
Yeah.
Just keep it open. Just keep it open. There's 2 hours, dude. Anyways, some of the best small cap trades they just happen. You see them 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m., 7 a.m., and it starts to kind of like fizzle off. Some of them that do carry on to the open market. That's I think it's slightly different playbook maybe. But yeah, no, I like it. I like the action much better in the pre-market. That's what I'm realizing as well. So different participants. We talked about this in the actual open session.
Sir.
You have multiple different kind of participants that can join in, but in the pre-market, it's a lot of PvP.
100%.
Right, without maybe a lot of, without too many algos, without too much institutional involvement either at the same time. So yeah, like it better, less, maybe potentially less competitive, but even then, I'd say some of those are straight up ranked, man.
And I feel like there's a lot of participation by small cap traders in the pre-market for this sole reason, not the sole, but a main reason would be, of course, the lack of volatility halt parameters. So you're able to have those outsized moves, pretty aggressive moves without having a cap there.
It's an actual free market.
Yeah,
it's a real free market in the pre-market.
Laissez-faire economics, baby. Can I just say one thing? I'm not going to say who, but I saw somebody with my own eyes, trade at 7:30 a.m. KOSS, and if you know, you know, okay? What costs?
Yeah.
From, I think it was $8 or something?
Yeah, I remember
to
those
150.
days. Yeah, I remember those days.
Okay?
Yeah.
I saw it with my own eyes.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the share size was. You never really do know, but that's still a monster trade. I seen it, says M. Stone. You know who I'm talking about. If you know, you know.
I done seen it.
All right, guys, we're still holding several pieces here of PAVM, looking for that continuation into 23. I'm waiting at 23.25. We've got 21.10s on right now. It's showing me 22.5. I'm looking for a decided break of 23. We have higher lows and higher lows and higher highs, but we are meeting some selling here. I want to say into the high 22s, 22.75, 22 mid 60s. Let's see if we can get that price spike through 23 to say, you know, we've taken out some of the sellers, and then where we go from there. Your guess is as good as mine, whether or not we work back in to about 25, where a lot of these halt levels were, or we retrace into the high of the day, which is 28.44 on the dot. We'll have to wait and see here. Seller at 60, continuing to watch that same seller in the 60s and 70s, kind of refresh their position. Buyers unable to overwhelm them at the moment, but we do have a good looking chart pattern, and we'll see if the momentum can take us above 23. So keeping a firm eye here on PAVM, but you know, come what may. Into the 80s we go. Good move here, and there it goes into 23. Not into my beak wetter yet. we're going to get 23.25. Looking for continuation above 23 here. It's a spready one, 23.08, 23.20. Give me the print, bro. 23.20 is coming in again. No quarter dollar print here on PAVM. We got 21.10s. Keep your eye out on this one. This one feels like it's strong. 23. Still waiting, nothing continuing. There's a huge seller at 23. Now that we've kind of earmarked that area, that's what I'm gonna take it out, cancel the prior order, so we'll take 23s, and now we're gonna set up higher. We're gonna go 24, 25 on the last remaining amount, because this is my last profit taker here. There it goes into 23 again. Let's see if the squeeze is on. Maybe there are shorts here that are in trouble. The chances are, though, that we could have bag holders here that were holding the bag, 26, 27, 28, right? We had a lot of price ascension earlier on. Sometimes the second time around, a thicker, harder trade to go. So now I'm moving my stop below 22, so we're gonna lock in the rest here. This is a good winner for me on the day. It'll put me decidedly positive, but hey man, if we can do better, let's do better. Continuing to watch your robe. Do we have, what's current bar high? Current bar high takes us to 23.20, so I wouldn't have got printed. So happy I took it out at 23 because I had my order at 23.25. So continuing to watch here as 23 does act as a resistance level, but the chart pattern is what it is at the moment. It's a curl off that 21.20 hold, and now we're putting in higher hellos and higher highs. Let's see what kind of continuation we get, if any, here. But anything below 22 does end. Well, maybe I'll give it to 21.75. 21.75, that's going to be the end of the trade. And it's already coming down in a hurry over here. And so there we go. We get stopped out for the last remaining amount. Let's go ahead and cancel all the orders. Make sure that nothing triggers here accidentally. Just before we start the news, look at the bamboozlement on AMDL. This displeases me greatly. Let me make my case to you guys. I was singing this one's praise. I'm like, oh, look, there's no bamboozlement. Oh, it doesn't, break the 10 EMA. It comes back into VWAP. A clean hold. Oh, not too bad, right? A clean hold of the volume weighted average price. We take out the 10. We take out the 20. It's a beautiful 3-candle green move up off VWAP. Then the bamboozlement strikes again, right at 2040, and it's look how long. It took 15 minutes to get up into that 2040. It took all but 2 seconds to drop from 2040 into 20. Nobody is spared. None of these stocks are spared from bamboozlement.
That's a AMD leveraged ETF? Mm-hmm. What is it, 1 times, 2 times?
Let's have a look.
Do you know? Curious.
200.
2x?
2x, yeah.
Okay, nice.
2x. So anyway, AMDL right back down into the volume weighted average price. No good. It's a no good. By the way, PAVM also bamboozlement central, which is why I had my stop where I had it. There you go. Breaks up all the way right back down, but it's still trading within that range. So I think if you guys are looking for that $20, let me build my position in the mid 20s and then rock it back up. I don't think that candle is the end all and be all. It's just more, noise, as Ob would say.
Low volume and it can't break down. I'm definitely going to keep my eyes on that. Yep. Again, we talk about liquidity traps, and it's had a bit of a move, and volume's fallen off, and the price can't fall off.
Yep.
It's just sideways, chop, 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 chop. So maybe worth keeping an eye on if it starts to rip into the close. That could some daily breakouts or intraday breakouts could be absolutely solid. But breaking down here is softy, distinctly different from the rest of the Mag 7s. And I think Dara brought us the news earlier that their 365 was down or something. So it's one of the only mags that has negative news as of right now. And look at the selling is very, very apparent here. It is distinctly different from the rest. Now, of course, I'm not looking at Meta. I always got to pull up Meta. Yeah, Meta's also pulling back here as well. But softy, looking at a bigger picture right here, you can see selling right off of the opening range low gets cracked at 448s, can't even hold 450s on this consolidation, and just off to the races to the downside here. 349s and 24 cents is the day low. Is that capitulation? I don't know. Strong volume bars, but if this market breaks this consolidation low here at that 25,150 and we start trading a little bit lower, then yeah, maybe Softy has some more room to the downside. Very, very seller dominant here. I was watching it at 445s, but this was really, really choppy. Like if this kind of consolidation, I think, who was it? It was, I think, Save Man, Woman, Peace in the chat saying earlier that, people have to learn how to short I've heard this before, and I'm gonna kind of regurgitate it as well. Sometimes you just got to flip the chart upside down. It's the same thing. Same thing. Doesn't matter. If I were to flip this chart upside down, Sharif, this would be a consolidation at high of day. For how long? For over 45 minutes, while the market tries to catch a little bit of a bounce, right? I would probably like that breakout.
Okay.
Guess what? The short is just as good. Consolidating at the day's lows after a strong sell-off cannot bounce. It cannot bounce. It extended so far off of VWAP. Let's just measure from VWAP down to this consolidation, 1.5% for softy. That's a decent chunk. And it's doing relative volume, 1.25. We talk about when the Mag 7s, they have crazy market cap. You need a lot of dollar volume to start pushing relative volume on this on the day, and this is doing about 1.25, which is a decent amount. Sure, it's not 2 times, 3 times,
sure. Well,
but it's a decent amount. It's doing above average. And then you get that breakdown of that consolidation. Intraday breakdown gives you 443s for about almost 1%. Wick low gives you about 0.86.
Okay.
Actually, it might be 1% because I didn't measure it properly, but you can see here, almost, 0.96. So on the range break of that 45-minute, almost hour-long consolidation, the breakdown gave you 1% to the downside from 443s and some change down to 439. So if you got the 440 breakdown as well. So great price action on this name here. Did not participate in it, unfortunately, but good for review.
All right. We have a bit of a different format for the news segment today. As you can see, we've got the 2 ladies behind us. We have Sia with us. She's going to be taking us through the news article, and then Obi and myself, and on some stories, Adara, we're going to comment and kind of try it that way. So Sia, let's go, Sia. There we go.
Netflix, as we know, reported its 325 million global paid subscribers, which is its first membership update of the year. There's, however, despite this, certain anxiety around the Warner Brothers deal. It also confirmed that it will be moving the transaction to fully cash. And Netflix also, I want to make a note that said in a letter to its shareholders that it believes the transaction will allow us to accelerate our business strategy. What do you have to say about this, Sharif?
Yeah, because this was quite interesting over here. So one thing that stood out to me immediately, Ob, was the fact that they actually reported how many users they had, how many subscribers, paid global subs. They hadn't done that in over a year. And they made it clear to us that they were going to stop doing that. So to me, I'm wondering, well, why choose this time around? Is it because you're like 50? Well, let's see exactly how much off the all-time highs they are. What I'm trying to get at, are they in damage control at the moment? Are they trying to assuage fears to like, guys, look, we're good. Everything's fine. We're adding a lot of subs. Okay, so let's go from that 134 that's post-split to the low this morning, 40%. 40% off the all-time highs that we put in, by the way, in June, end of June of last year. This is the weekly chart on NFLX, by the way. So that's the first thing that stood out to me. Why report now your subs? So first and foremost, that's it. And I do like the fact that they have acknowledged the intensifying competition. We've seen a lot of people kind of bite at their heels to kind of take users, whether it's from Disney, HBO Max, others. They're all really focusing on creating that great content. And you're seeing Paramount Skydance doesn't want to give up Warner Brothers for exactly that reason. I do like the fact that they beat on the top and bottom line. That's fantastic. Net income up to $2.42 billion, up from $1.87. That's healthy. It reflects stronger operating leverage as they're able to, some cost controls there. What I did really, really like, though, about the report, and I don't think it's reflected as much, is the ad revenue. We talked about this when they switched from a memberships-only tier to both, where you had an ad tier and a member and a non-ad tier. And I said the ad tier is probably going to end up bringing in more money. Reason is, you watch 5 hours, they get $15 a month. However, you on the regular tier, you watch 5 hours, they get 15. You watch 50 hours, they still get that 15. However, when you're on that ad tier, the more you watch, the more you get paid. And we've seen what Meta's gross margins are like
when it comes to ads. It's 80-something% gross margins. So by far, probably their best and most profitable product. I'm talking about ads. Now, as users, obviously, you're not going to like that much, right? Because it's interfering. I got to pay more for non-ads. I get all that. But we're talking about, the business model here. So that immediately stands out to me. The fact that they were able to grow their 2025 ad revenue by 2.5 times what it was in 24, and now they're actually projecting a doubling of that in 2026. I think that's quite bullish. I have my reservations about the company, but let's call a spade a spade. When things are good, let's call them out good. When they're not, let's call that out. Now, what I am concerned about, and I think what investors are focusing more on, is the pausing of the share buyback program, because they got to be able to have the cash on hand to acquire Warner Brothers Discovery, which they've switched to an all-cash offer. So investors who are in this, possibly for the accretion by share buybacks, are going to have to wait and hold, because they're not going to get any.
They're not doing that right now. I mean, I like that you measured the pullback here as well. Looking for measured moves. We talk about Netflix finally being in an area of interest. It was in a free fall over multiple weeks, maybe even multiple months. You can see aggressive selling starting off here last June of 2025. That's where we did start the selling that initiated this break of trend, break of structure. Now, I'm curious to know, Sharif, will they be doing more of the same? Like you said, they hadn't reported their numbers in a while. It's interesting that they start reporting them at a level of interest.
I'm just saying.
It's almost, sometimes it's just the level of confluence of when certain things happen here, even fundamentally, relative to where the price is on the chart. Sometimes amazes me, but we won't talk about my tinfoil suit. Let's talk about the support that is happening here. That's coming in, Sharif, right at 81.93. We pointed this out a little bit earlier. Support, will it continue to be support? Are we in a different era for Netflix, right? Is this the next season? That's what I'm asking, right? It's distinctly different from the past few years. From 2022 to 2025, we've had a beautiful run. 600%, over 600%.
600.
Right? So
that's a lot of percentage.
I like that you measured the pullback, and the pullback from the highs is about 40. It
was 40 on the dot for today's low.
Yeah, roughly about 40% of this leg. We're coming down. We'll see. I like to look at 50%. So maybe that's why I'm saying I'm looking for a potential push in a 70 if that 82, 81, 80 area that we saw today cannot hold anymore. I mean, maybe they are trying to, what did you call it? You call it something.
What?
They're trying to manage their losses.
Do damage control.
Damage control, yes, right. Sorry, yeah. So maybe this is damage control at an area of interest from before, where people might be looking at this and being like, okay, you saw the days, you saw the weeks there at this area, had aggressive buying, both times that it pulled back into here.
Yeah, this could be a good buy zone.
That was in January of 25. Yeah, exactly.
Could be a good buy zone.
At the very least, do we get a bit of a bounce, maybe back to 100, even though we are in a very strong, broken up, downtrend broken the uptrend, right? So lower highs maybe in and around here at 105s. Who knows? That's what I'm watching. We're in a very key area for Netflix, and I'm going to continue watching this one to see how this season ends.
Just go before we get Adara's comment. Thank you, Leanne, very much for the $5 super chat. Very kind of you. Sharif, Obi, I love when you guys do the small caps. You are the best technical teachers. Thank you. It's Leanne. Leandra. Oh, never Leanne. I'm so sorry. I always call you Leanne. I'm sorry, Leandra. Shout out to Leandra. I appreciate you, Leandra, there from Obi and I, obviously.
Thank you very much.
Yes, absolutely. All right, let's get Adara's take on Netflix.
First, huge caveat, guys. Netflix never said they would entirely stop reporting subscribers. I think that is the biggest thing to note for that tinfoil suit comment, Obi. And I think if they had fully said they'd stop reporting, that would make sense. But what they had said was they would only report it if there was a major milestone, for example, 325 million subscribers. So I think with that in mind, like the whole idea they're trying to cover stuff up by saying this, I think that has a little bit less merit. And I'm not saying I'm a massive supporter of Netflix or anything, but you guys know I love facts above all else. And the fact is that they never said they'd entirely stop reporting. And I did double check this for the sake of accuracy. What they said was they will no longer do quarterly reports because they actually don't think it's a relevant metric of the business. They literally said, we don't think it's relevant anymore. We don't really want to fully rely on it. We don't think it's the best metric to show how our business grows. They believe engagement, which as Sharif said, is really measured, I think, in terms of ad revenue. They think that is a more relevant metric than going here by quarter-to-quarter numbers. And you guys can check that yourselves, but it is 100% accurate. I just did the due diligence and the research there. With that in mind, the other thing I think we have to mention here for Netflix earnings is why are they having a struggle bus right now? Margin, operating margin, they missed this quarter, guiding lower for next quarter. Another thing I want to say here for our friends at NFLX, Q1 2026 guidance, weak sauce. They missed on EPS, they missed on revenue, and they missed on operating guidance. Now for fiscal 2026, their revenue guide was above estimates, but we do have the fact that they're not going to be doing buybacks anymore to support that WBD deal. And we also have the fact that they're apparently going to be having, according to them, better H2 2026, the second half, Q3 and Q4 of 2026 performance than the first half of 2026. So Q1, Q2 might be a little bit weaker in comparison. And also, guys, if you enjoy random content, a la my weird little series that I did with Jerome Powell's ties, you guys know I like statistically analyzing random stuff that is market related. And with that in mind, I did mention it earlier, but there is a new series that's coming out right now. It is involving Netflix. It's on XNTTV Research. And it's Netflix and how it performs at the Oscars. Netflix has been nominated, or its films have been nominated for 168 Oscars over the last 12 years, but they've only actually won 26. Why is that? I mean, we'll get into it. This is going to be coming out, as I said, over the coming days, weeks leading up to the Oscar ceremony and surrounding the Netflix earnings yesterday. But if you're interested in statistical analysis of market-related stuff, always check out X at TTV Research. And again, guys, remember, Netflix might still report subscriber numbers if they deem them relevant. Back to you.
See ya.
So let's move on to another headline. So gold is setting a record-setting rally, is also stretching into another session, and the prices have surged past $4,800 per ounce. Pretty good. And personally, I would like to say that I was talking to Sharif the other day, and we were discussing how commodities, gold, silver, platinum, are a buy right now, and will always be, right? I personally got three shares of gold earlier this morning, I believe. I did. I'm really happy about that. But also moving on to the US dollar also did weaken alongside that is widening political risk. And analysts in certain market surveys are also increasingly projecting gold to be above $5,000 per ounce this year. And there's expected declines in U.S. real interest rates, potential Fed easing, as well as ongoing central bank buys. Honestly, I'm really excited for this. I personally am getting more into investing in commodities, and throwing it to Sharif. What do you have to say?
The way I kind of see these precious metals running, specifically gold, though maybe not so much the other precious metals, is kind of this push that we've seen by other countries to kind of de-dollarize, right? And there's so many different reasons for that. Obviously, because it plays in to American strength. If the American dollar is the reserve currency everywhere, it gives them strength in negotiating positions. And we've seen this many different times with the latest trade deals that President Trump is engaging in. So one kind of right away is you feel that central banks, maybe in coordination with the governments there, are trying to de-dollarize. But we also saw it with Russia, where specifically the SWIFT system, which obviously is based on the US dollar, was kind of weaponized against them. And this is kind of, I think, one of the growing themes that we're just going to have to wrap our minds around, where maybe that we have to kind of subsist in this kind of weak US dollar environment going forward for at least, maybe a change of administration until possibly American foreign policy changes. I don't personally see that happening in the short term, but really what I want to focus on is not the trade aspect. It is more the central bank thinking, the de-dollarization push, and sort of, I hate to use the word weaponize over and over again, but President Trump has kind of taken the U.S. economy and he said, look, you want access to the best economy in the world, you're going to have to give us something for it. And that's almost like weaponizing that. And we've also seen that from other countries as well, China weaponizing supply chains. So it's kind of weaponization of the economy is kind of force people to not really rely on a central currency anymore and maybe look to these precious metals. That's kind of how I see this whole trade unfolding, and I don't really see, you know, the use cases for gold in the way that maybe you see with some other precious metals like silver or anything like that. That's kind of the way that I look at it.
Yeah, I think gold is going to have its multiple uses throughout time. You know that gold is used pretty frequently in electronics as well, right? You see places around the world melting old motherboards and chips to kind of extract some of the precious metals as well. So yeah, we know that gold content is going to continue to be used in those as well. And silver, I don't know where silver is necessarily used the most, but I think it does have a very strong use case. Yeah. Silver I like because of the fact that it's kind of squeezing. We saw that a potential, maybe hypothetical report of TD Securities getting squeezed out of a position, and we talked about maybe they're not the only ones, dude. Not the only ones. This is very, very strong, and some of the action that you're seeing is very squeeze-like action on a day-to-day basis on here on silver. It doesn't show up every day, but when it does, the rips are pretty crazy, and kind of it's obvious that people are just trying to get out of a position here. It's happened a few times, but GLD or gold maybe not as aggressive as silver, but I think it was a few weeks ago, we took a look at that ratio between gold and silver throughout the past. I think I sent you that visual as well.
Beautiful, yeah.
And the ratios were absolutely ridiculous, the discrepancy between the price of gold and silver, and silver's catching up. Right, we're kind of balancing that piece as well. I like the push on gold here, the breakout of that 4.4s, and then this breakout was absolutely solid as well, 3/2 here earlier on last year. September, I definitely was watching this one very, very closely because look at that flag, man. Look at that flag on the weekly on gold. So yeah, can't stop, won't stop. Does not really show me any solid reason to sell here, neither on silver. Silver's continuing to get, this one's gapping up on the weekly, which is even more aggressive, and you can see that expanding volume. So unless and until I see a distinct difference, we talked about this with damn, I'm forgetting oh my God. I'm blanking out. Anyways,
what's up?
It's holding trend. We talked about it with one of our guests on the show here as well, and he was saying how the trend hasn't even broken yet, right? So a solid break of that trend could give more precedent to the downside. So that's what I'm looking for here. But as of right now, well within trend, holding higher highs and higher lows. So there's nothing stopping this as of right now. I think there has to be some sort of a change, or maybe some strong capitulation, a blow off top perhaps.
Yes.
On some of these, on a higher time frame look. So that's what I'm waiting and watching for on these precious metals.
All right, see ya.
Thank you. So we're also going to quickly dive into natural gas. Natural gas futures have been surging as like there's a brutal Arctic blast sending heating demand, and prices are trading sharply higher. As we know, the weather has been crazy. Natural gas futures have been surging after the freezing Arctic weather has been spreading across large parts of the country as we know it. Forecasts have been showing much colder weather than normal, temperatures that are persisting into this weekend, and got to get ready for that. Major winter storm is also expected to bring heavy snow, sleet, and freezing rain across southern U.S. before shifting east, amplifying certain demand risks. Also, there are speculative short positions that had risen to their highest level in 14 months that are leaving the market increasingly exposed to a sharp short covering rally. Honestly, the sub-zero temperatures are also raising the risk for production freeze-offs in certain key regions, such as Marcellus and Bakken. And I would like to throw it to Sharif.
All right, so here's what I see. So another beautiful day for UNG today. Gaps up, doesn't fill the gap, mind you, but there could be a headwind for traders who are looking for the upside. Let me make the case over here. So
there's a storage cushion still a headwind. What does that mean? So the U.S. U.S. working gas in storage stood at about 3,185 BCF, which is about 106 BCF above the 5-year average. So they withdrew last week about 71 BCFs, which is solid but not yet aggressive enough, to meaningfully shrink the surplus. So this storage buffer is why some analysts are cautioning that the rally could fade if the weather doesn't persist. And one way we'll know is when we get the EIA weekly storage report. That's on Thursday at 10:30 a.m. So what I kind of want to direct the conversation to is bulls for UNG need colder forecast to stick and withdrawals from the storage to accelerate. Bears, they're looking at steady production from shale basins and a winter that has so far, at least, for not this the last few weeks, but so far has been milder than feared, predicted in the summer. So it was interesting to see 2 days in a row, you get double-digit gaps up on UNG and nat gas, or whatever you're trading there, boil, cold, there's so many different ones. But the storage seems to be viewed by some analysts as a headwind because they're not going to be looking to add or replenish sort of what they're pulling out. So they're going to have to pull out more if they're going to replenish aggressively. And then we've seen this also with the U.S. With the oil storage, the strategic reserve, where they'll wait for certain prices to dip down, maybe until key support level, and then replenish the storage there. So not always do they just get more because, well, they're running out. They typically wait and be a bit more strategic about it as to where they pick it up. So UNG, nat gas in general, the widowmaker for a reason.
Yeah, no, I think we're talking about how sellers have been very dominant on some of these assets, and yeah, a cold winter can definitely bring in some of that action to the upside on these names, and we saw some of that happen overnight here on natural gas futures. I'm just looking at the Henry Hub here, and prior day, we were already talking about this yesterday, Sharif, and I mentioned this before. I was looking for the move yesterday, but all we did yesterday was sideways chop during the open market session. The breakout comes in, when is this? Overnight, right here, when it gets a little colder. Midnight, 21st, Wednesday, midnight, that's when the bid starts to happen. $4 breakout for the push all the way up to almost 5, Sharif. We got all the way to $4.95 on this one. Guess what's happening today?
What's happening?
In the intraday session, sideways chop. So I think you're very astute in saying that, yeah, we got to wait for that Thursday results, those numbers to come out to really see if this move will continue. Is this all in anticipation? Is it just a little bit of a squeeze of players being like, oh, okay, well, I gotta cover some of the swings I've been in because the cold wasn't here. And you're right, the cold has to stick.
It has to.
Right?
Yeah.
So what Obi is talking about is the EIA weekly storage report that comes out Thursday at 10 a.m. And it's literally the next critical checkpoint to confirm whether or not weather is tightening the balances of the storage that we just talked about. They have again, I really want to stress this. Up until I think last week, we were 106 BCF above the 5-year average in the storage. So you're going to need aggressive withdrawals. And I don't think just for 1 or 2 weeks, for longer. I don't know what the weather forecast is on your side of the border, but the meteorologist here that I watch on the 6 o'clock news every day said it's going to be the rest of January that's going to be like this, and maybe into early February. So on our side, it's looking quite ominous over here. See ya.
We're also going to talk about Tesla. So Tesla's facing a reality check on its ambitious robotaxi and also the Optimus rollout timelines. Let's take a quick look into that. Elon Musk cautioned that the early production of the Cybercab robotaxi and Optimus humanoid robot will be agonizingly slow before accelerating. He also highlighted manufacturing complexity as the bottleneck. Nodding production speed is inversely also related to number of new parts and steps that'll be involved. And both platforms, important to note here, are built from scratch. Let's go into a little bit of details about the Cybercab. The Cybercab is a 2-seater vehicle with no steering wheels or pedals. It's also designed for full autonomy, and Tesla reiterated it is on track for volume Cybercab production in 2026, that is this year. And in December, Musk also confirmed that robo-taxis were being tested without safety monitors, which is signaling confidence, but is also a bit of a regulatory risk. What do you have to say about this, Sharif?
It's super interesting because on X, all I'm seeing are videos of the Cybercab driving around Austin. And so just, based on Tesla's history, we saw this with the Model Y Juniper. We didn't really know when Juniper was coming out. We had heard, different rumors that it was available or that it was being, designed and produced, but not en masse. And then all of a sudden, we started seeing videos of them uncovered. You know how car companies hide the design by putting those leather wraps on top of them? All of a sudden, we were inundated with Model Ys driving all around Austin. So I feel like, as Tesla gets closer to that launch, it's kind of the same sequence that we've been seeing, where we start seeing them on the road again after hearing rumors of their production. So that's one thing. Second thing is, I just want to point out that there are rumors, and it's just strictly rumors, that basically the chassis and the format off which the Cybercab is being built could be, used in the future for a different, non-autonomous car. Well, maybe it'd have FSD, but we've been talking a lot about, a Model 2, a Model Q, whatever that they're calling it these days, a smaller version and a more entry-level version of Tesla's, sedan. Whether or not it ends up being a sedan or not, but that's what some people are speculating, that the robotaxi chassis, the robotaxi battery pack, or whatever they're calling it, I forget what Randy calls it, could be used for for a different model. So that's one thing. Those two things, sorry. And then when it comes to Optimus, I really don't know what to make of this. He says he's going to begin production at the end of 26, assuming development milestones are met. I don't know what those milestones are. A lot of rumors about people seeing the third version of Optimus. I'm talking about specifically Jason Calacanis, who said that he accompanied Musk to Tesla's, I think, whatever their factory in their Gigafactory in Austin, and he saw some stuff that made him really, really impressed. So I don't know. I don't know what to make of that. Tesla.
Tesla, man. It's see, we're still in this trend, which I really like. Let me throw. You guys are going to be overwhelmed by these. That's a lot of lines, right? Can't even draw like the line that I'm trying to draw here. But as soon as I put this on, they come right back on. So I'll keep them off. And this is the trend I want to point out. Look, these are the higher lows right here, right here, right here, right here. And we're holding that pretty well here. And I talked about if we do come back into the lower range of this trend, maybe a test of 400s might be in play. If we're just going to use support and resistance, prior levels here at 380s. This thing is in a much higher time frame uptrend as well that I do want to point out. Right? Higher highs, higher lows. The legs are pretty aggressive on this one, but we're holding and consolidating above prior significant prices. So that 500 almost came through. We have a high of 498.83s here, right? I think we're still poised for a potential push through that 500, especially with some of the developments that they're making and how their technologies are being more and more accepted.
Right.
It just has to be, once they actually start making some money and things are fully literally on road, then we might see that follow through as well with people, again, positioning in for with a stronger sentiment. Right? So I think I definitely like this, holding the uptrend very well. But here's the thing, a lot of people get chopped up on Tesla looking for the move to happen within a week, within a month. Look at the legs that this thing has. We'll go straight up, go to a 3-month chart on this one. The 3-month chart, look at the range on some of these candles.
It's all higher lows, though.
It's all higher lows. That's what you have to remember, right? That's what you have to remember. But you have to also be able to stomach some of the pressure to the downside.
Oh, yeah.
Just the range on this huge green candle that we had. This is the July 25 candle. So that's 3 months off of July. The low is sitting at 288s and the high at 444s. But $120 risk, right? If you're being like, okay, I'm going to risk for a prior bar. Yeah. That's not small at all.
Not small.
But if you really truly do believe, then that's the risk. So it's you can play it different ways, but I do think this thing is definitely poised for a little bit higher. They did a split, I think, right? They've done a couple of splits, and this thing has been $1,000 ticker before.
You know what I'm thinking about a lot about? So you've seen the weakness in the European sales, like off a cliff, right? We almost report monthly weaker European sales for Tesla. So I started thinking, I'm like, all right, he took some political positions that may have been unpopular in Europe. Is that the only reason, though, that Tesla is down the way it is down in terms of deliveries in Europe? I think it has a lot to do with the Chinese EVs that are finding their way onto the continent for the first time en masse in 25. We've seen BYD, for example, 300%, whatever, year-over-year increases in registrations in England and in some other jurisdictions as well. So it's like, yeah, sure, the politics wasn't great. It was certainly a headwind. But I think when it all is said and done, it really does have to do with the Chinese EVs. And you see the fear that there is in North America about Chinese EVs finding their way here. Every jurisdiction they go, they proliferate. Just ask Assassino. Assassino, how many BYDs are driving around Brazil? A lot, he said, right? They're just
the competition's stepping it up,
and that's the thing.
But they're also in China.
So hold on, I'm about to get to my point. So the point is, he needs a smaller, cheaper electric vehicle if he wants to move the needle in Europe. It's the Model 3 is like a limo in Europe. I'm exaggerating for effect, obviously. You know what I mean? But the point is, he needs another. Again, if he wants to continue to sell cars and he's not going to focus entirely on autonomy and robotics, if he wants to do that, I think he needs to move the needle a different way on that continent. Maybe he's not interested in selling to the second biggest, or third now biggest economy in the world. But it seems to be
his
something.
focus is definitely like in many different places. And I've said this before. Tesla, yeah, sure, they sell cars, but that's not what their end goal is.
No,
right?
we know that.
They're more of an efficient energy storage company, right? If anything, energy is the name of their game. Yeah. And he's talking about in the future having electric rockets, which is kind of crazy, but it's still the man has accomplished a lot of goals there as well. But regardless, trust me when I tell you, I love the backside, and Tesla is definitely front side of the move. So,
all right. How's NVIDIA looking? What's the headline on that, Sia?
NVIDIA is betting on inference as there's AI deployment acceleration going on currently. So let's quickly take a look at that. Base 10, before I start speaking, is an AI infrastructure platform designed to help companies deploy, serve, and scale machine learning. And what's NVIDIA doing? NVIDIA is investing $150 million into Base 10, which is an AI inference startup that just raised $300 million at a $5 billion valuation. Also, the funding round was led by Capital G, the independent growth fund of Alphabet, and Base 10 helps companies like Cursor and Notion deploy and operate large-scale AI models efficiently and directly, which aligns with NVIDIA's inference first thesis. Also, another key thing to note is that NVIDIA ended the month of October in 2025 with $60.6 billion in cash and equivalents, which gives it exceptional flexibility to invest, acquire, and defend its ecosystem. What do you have to say about that, Sharif?
Find it very interesting, Sia, that that Jensen is going to China apparently at the end of the month. My assumption is that he's going to do damage control over there because, well, the trade tensions between the two superpowers is at a head, even though we know that President Trump is going to meet with President Xi in April. I think there's a lot of political posturing ahead of that meeting. One of those, posturing, one of those postures, I don't even know how to say it, is by President Xi basically getting his regulator to say, no H-200s allowed in this country unless in very limited exceptions. Obviously, that doesn't work with Jensen, who has to be able to plan in the future. We know Taiwan Semi can't make the 2 million of them that were ordered by these Chinese customers. So how is Jensen gonna kind of try to control his supply chain with the B200 and the upcoming B300 when, you know, he's unsure about how many H200s he's going to need to produce, of course, with Taiwan Semi. So I think he's going over there to get his ducks in a row to figure out exactly what, you know, he can expect in terms of orders and what would be allowed into the country. My only issue with his visit to China there is that it comes ahead of the meeting between President Trump, President Xi. So when he goes, nothing will have been decided or finalized between those two leaders. So maybe a little premature for Jensen to be going over there and trying to get, you know, a solid order or a solid understanding of what the Chinese regulator is going to want, because it could change, right, with the negotiations with the states. But I do like this. I want to focus on this actual article now. So this Bastion acquisition by NVIDIA, it's a very specific acquisition and one that focuses on inference as opposed to training. So we've heard so much about lately that, you know, data, the information on the internet that LLMs train off is running to a head. It's almost exhausted. We need kind of synthetic data now to train these large language models. So the point of that is to tell you that the training aspect of AI is really falling behind in importance to the inference aspect. And the inference aspect is how you're going to make all these amazing apps that are based on AI. So that's what he's doing here. He's hedging his bets on that. And we've seen other LLMs like OpenAI, Gemini, all of them really try to focus on inference as opposed to training. I'm not saying training is exhausted, but that is really what it stood out to me there. So this, what is it called? Bastion. We reported this to you guys yesterday, by the way, on the Midday. Raised $300 million at a $5 billion valuation. We'll have to see if they make money on that. But NVIDIA's got a lot of money over here, a little bit less than 2/3 of $100 billion there in the bank that they can deploy.
Yeah, for sure, man. I think we talk about AI being in somewhat of, you know, I wouldn't say, I used to call it an infancy. It's definitely growing up a little bit. And we're getting to the point, Sharif, where, you know, I forget who it was recently, but they said that we're coming to a point where software engineers pretty much from the beginning to the end, they'll be able to deliver a full product and fully replace software engineers and teams from the beginning of developing all the way to the end product. And that's coming in very soon. And Jose and I were having a talk about this yesterday, saying that, yeah, like everybody is, you know, maybe in a little bit of trouble.
Okay.
With the exponential growth that AI is poised to have. We're already starting to see it. So again, NVIDIA is the shovels and the pickaxes.
No doubt.
For the gold rush. Their chart is looking absolutely solid. Sure, we started to slow down a little bit, but if the growth continues to happen, people are still going to need NVIDIA, and they are by far the top contender. Nobody else is coming close. We talk about China maybe banning some of those chips. Guess what? Those chips are still coming in because they know they have a superior chip, NVIDIA.
Yep.
That's why they still want those chips. They're going to talk like, we're going to put bans, we're going to put restrictions, but under the table, those chips are still getting into China. They're still developing AIs using some of that technology. So all of that is still going on, regardless of what's being shown in front of the curtain, right? So I think that regardless of how the chips get sold, NVIDIA is going to still stay selling chips because this technology is still well within its infancy. And we haven't seen that exponential run.
I got to agree with that.
Right? So,
but we've seen them pivot a little bit, where they made that acquisition of that. I forget the name of the company, but they deal specifically with ASICs, application-specific integrated circuits, because they know that that's kind of where they have to compete now. They have to compete with Google's TPU, with Amazon's Trainium, and all the different plethora of different custom chips that Broadcom helps design for mid-tier companies. So I think that they're flexible, and they have the money to be flexible, to adjust with the trend. And it's not always going to be about GPUs for ever and ever more. A more efficient chip, specifically for AI workloads, you through custom ASICs could weasel onto the scene and be the one that everybody's buying because of cost. Power efficiency. These GPUs that NVIDIA is selling at like 75% gross margins, super expensive, number one. Number two, they're very, very energy demand heavy.
For sure, yeah.
So
that's why they're talking about SMRs and stuff like that.
Well, there you go, right?
But I think you're 100% right. There has to be someone that steps up to the plate and is like, okay, we are going to provide a far superior product. And unless and until that happens, NVIDIA is definitely top dog.
Top dog. By the way, guys, I think I was mispronouncing the company that NVIDIA invested $150 million into. I think Katina Man was telling me it's Base 10, which actually does make sense. So Base 10 is the one that I was talking about there. That raised $300 million at a $5 billion valuation. All right, Sia, what's next?
We have Meta. Meta Platforms has confirmed its Meta Super Intelligence Labs that has delivered its first internal AI models roughly 6 months into development. And Chief Technology Officer Andrew Bosworth said that the early results are very good. The models are, however, not yet consumer ready. That's basically underscoring post-training refinement, which remains a major part of Meta's AI roadmap. And there are reports that suggest that Meta is working on a text-based AI model called Avocado, very cute, and image video focused models called Mango, stated for Q1 launches, my bad, sorry about that. Also, Meta's AI push is also under scrutiny after the criticism of Llama 4, as we know it was not the best at its job. What do you have to say about that, Sharif?
I agree 100% with that about Llama 4 not being very good. But look, they've spent a lot of money. I'm talking about Meta and Mark Zuckerberg to acquire AI talent, acquire AI companies. And now they got to show something for it. Meta stock's taking a big hit. I think the market's giving him leeway, Mark Zuckerberg, in order to kind of get his ducks in a row with AI. So he's going to have to get this right. So let's see. We've been talking a lot about how they've been building up internally. Now it's kind of time to see the product of that. We reported to you guys on Avocado a few weeks ago and the image video focused model, Mango, a couple of weeks ago as well. Slated for a Q1 launch, so that should be interesting to see so we can try it for ourselves and see whether or not Meta is really falling behind. But a lot of the stuff that he's done, Mark Zuckerberg, is to kind of hamstring his competition, where time is super important. So let's take the acquisition of Scale AI. What did Scale do? They're a labeling company because these LLMs don't like to look at the picture and try to decipher what it is. They want it labeled for them so that they can easily reference to it. And that's what Scale AI did. It was able to label all these videos and images so that these LLMs and the training models could understand them a lot easier. Well, why would you want to pick up something like that? Why can't you just develop it in-house? Because everybody else was using Scale AI. I'm talking about Google. I'm talking about Amazon. A lot of his competitors were and OpenAI, of course, were all using Scale AI. So by acquiring Scale, what he did was he put his competitors back 6 months, but they're all developing it in-house anyway. So that multi-billion-dollar acquisition of Scale and Alexander Wang and all the talent that came with him better show up and better do something here for Meta, because he's putting all his bets on AI in the same way that he did, with the metaverse, which didn't end up, we all know what happened there, would end up doing that well, dropping to $88. It'll be in October of 2022.
Yeah.
October 2022.
Yeah, no, since 22 though, man, we had quite a run. This kind of reminds me a little bit of the Netflix chart where I talked about that beautiful V-shaped recovery. This one was a lot more textbook than NVIDIA, and look at this, pretty much a very similar kind of action on the rebreak of that prior high that brought us all the way down to that $88 level, right? So when that broke out, they gave you what, 389s all the way to 795, so on almost 100% off of that breakout, that beautiful V shape. And since then, I've had a few anchors in here from specific events, maybe some earnings that I think are more significant than others,
right,
and bigger picture kind of a trend happening here. And that trend is support, Sharif. If we just go from wick to wick post breakout, that's coming in all the way down in the 500s. So Meta is definitely looking like it's slowing down its run.
Yeah.
They are kind of iffy in some of the products that they've been putting out. Right? It's no longer, it's no longer about Facebook. It's about a lot of other things now as well. But price action wise, they have definitely slowed down in a sideways chop underneath 800. So I'm waiting for Meta to come out with that next thing, whether it's avocado, mango, or banana. I don't know.
You don't care.
But they definitely
get
have
me
to
that
put their
fruit.
get their fruits in a row for sure.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Just want to pause here for a second to let you guys know that NAMM is back in business over here, and a clean hold, mind you, of the volume weighted average price. It wasn't without bamboozlement, so you did get caught on that 110 pop into that 212, dropping all the way down. In fact, losing VWAP momentarily into the 180s, but there it goes. A clean hold most generally here of VWAP. I hope you guys used, if you were in this trade, you gave your stop a bit of a buffer below VWAP, but there it is, retesting, or making, I should say, intraday highs at $2.28. So we, actually just matched intraday high. So that 12.15 pop was matched with this 145 pop over here. So NAMM up 120% and not looking all that bad, guys. So in the world of small cap gappers, that's probably the one to keep an eye out on at the moment. All right, what's next, Sia?
So next we do have Alibaba. Alibaba's betting on nuclear power and open AI sources. Alibaba Group has formed 250 million yuan, which is $35.9 million, joint venture with China National Nuclear Power and partners to secure electricity for AI data centers. It's also doubling down on open source AI, positioning openness as a core pillar of its 2025 AI strategy. And its Qwen model family has surpassed 700 million downloads, boosting confidence in Alibaba cloud adoption. What do you have to say about this, Sharif?
I like it. We've seen this with Alibaba. And by the way, Baba is up 3.5% on the day. Not a bad look at all for Baba, where a lot is negative. So how many times are we going to say these tech companies are looking to expand their energy footprint, and mostly into the nuclear? So this is with the China Nuclear Power Co. Great move there. They're also doubling down on open source AI, as Sia mentioned, as a core pillar of their 2026 strategy. I do like, though, very much how the Qwen model now has apparently surpassed 700 million downloads. I'd like to see what the daily active and weekly active and monthly active users are to see whether or not it's just one-off, because if you like the model, they're more likely than not that you're going to sustain using it, right? So the headline number of downloads is one thing, and then the sustained use, I think, is a completely other thing. But yeah, AI-driven data center growth is straining existing power grids. I'm surprised to hear that in China, where I know that they were adding terawatts of energy. So interesting take. What's your look here, Obi, on Baba? I wanted to point out, what do you think of this trend break over here? Let's look at the daily. This is probably your world over here. Look at this. A very sustained downtrend, uninterrupted, and then you have a trend break.
Yeah, so I think that's part of a bigger picture move that's been happening here over the past couple of years, right? Baba found a bit of a rounded bottom, as we like to call it here, with the lows coming in at 55s and maybe some highs at 115s, and that's starting to step up. So that's what I like to see in something that's trending on a bigger picture, where those flags, if you want to call them that, start stepping up, where you have those downtrends and then breakout, hold, push up, and then now we're getting another instance of that potential flag where we pulled back into prior structure, stepping up onto 145s, 150s, and then attempting to break this trend once again. So I'm looking for more of the same here, Sharif, and we've got a long ways to go if we're going to continue stepping up the way we are. Now, I have some anchored VWAPs here from the break of this range that we held for how long? About, from 22 to 25, so just about a few years there, and we're starting to step up on top of that range. We still have a lot of headwind if we're looking at prior support and resistance levels, but that's all the way from 2020, 2021. Again, sentiment could have changed. What they do is starting to change as well. You're telling me they're getting into different businesses as well, and that could definitely add to the stair step higher as well. Volume signatures, not really seeing any sort of expanding volume on this step up, but maybe it's just not there yet. But I am looking, exactly as you pointed out, at those trend breaks, and if it can continue to step up like this, I think it'll be pretty solid. Just got to remember that this is this one of the ones that's in the ADR as well?
Oh, yeah.
I think so, yeah, for sure. So you got to make sure you're following along with the Hang Seng Index and what the action is that's happening there as well, because this is not all of the information.
And you got to be able to stomach geopolitical risk, because at any time, they're falling out between the United States and China, and these guys are delisted, right? And that was a concern.
It was a scare. I remember that.
Remember that? The delisting scare? It was during, I think, President Biden's
administration. That was a good buy as well.
Yeah. By the way, guys, NAMM continuing to go here into the high of the day, taking out that previous 28 penny high. It is now 244. It's up 140%, looking real clean over here. So keep your eye out on NAMM. Looking good. See ya.
United Airlines is seeing record earnings path in 2026. United Airlines basically said that it could deliver record earnings this year, driven by travel demand across premium, business, and basic economy segments. The Q4 adjusted EPS also came in at 3.10, topping expectations of 2.94. And United and Delta accounted for nearly all U.S. airline profits in the first 9 months of 2025, underscoring industry consolidation. This is very cool. Very, very insane. What do you have to say about this, Sharif?
That's crazy. I didn't know that. It's so interesting to see that they're the most profitable too. But really what stood out to me, and it's been standing out for a long time when we report on these airlines, whether it's Delta, American, whoever, premium revenue, not profit, because we know it's more profitable. The actual top line number continues to increase, in Delta's case, substantially above their economy revenue. So let's look at this. Premium revenue increased 9% year over year in the quarter and up 11% for the full year of 2025, all the while their basic economy tickets, that top line number, not even profitability, again, only rose 7%. So their premium revenue is growing now at faster than their basic economy revenue. And to me, that kind of is the epitome of the K-shaped economy, right? Where those who are not hurting, who continue to have, good paying jobs and a lot of money in the bank, can continue to splurge on things that are substantially more aggressive. And Brendo and I did this, I think, or it was Joseph and I, actually. We looked at what, we chose a random date, a random airline. I think it was here to, I forget where, it was somewhere in Asia, right? And the equal, or what's it called? The business class flight was like $8,000. All the while, the economy was like $800. So margins aside, which are the real driver here, this is very, very eye-opening. And I'm not surprised by it, though, because have you been lately on a flight, a long flight in economy? It is not pleasant. Not pleasant.
I think the last flight I took was with Porter, and those flights, I think, those flights are, they're quick if you're trying to go close by, but even then,
that's close by, though.
Kind of uncomfortable.
It's kind of close.
Yeah, because I've taken Porter to Miami, to New York, and it's just like it can get pretty cramped. You got to pack light for sure.
I feel like you've been on
Delta. What's that?
No, I was about to say to her. Go ahead.
I honestly really, really hate long flights because I do fly back home quite a lot of times.
I was going to say, yeah.
I go home to India to visit my family, and it's 23 hours. Economy.
Oh, that's the thing. See, have you looked at the difference in price between economy and first? Just, what?
Oh, yeah,
300%.
Yeah, absolutely. So economy, that last I checked, I think last week was around 1,600 return, which is not bad.
Okay.
But then when you go to first class, it's around 5,000 one way.
Okay, one way. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and I'm just like, I can't,
exactly
one day I would
trades.
love to spend 10 grand on flights, but that day is not today.
Yeah, well, hopefully we'll all get there one day. Yeah, so I completely agree with that, and that's what we've been seeing a lot more of. And you got to assume that they're wise to it, and they're doing what is in the best interest of shareholders, and that's to increase that top line number, to increase profitability, whether or not it means fewer people who can afford economy fly less.
Yeah.
And I don't think they really care. All right, you can personally, I think you're going to find maybe a bit of an airline specific thing where 2/3 of the airplane maybe on Delta is premium, and then 1/3 is economy, or maybe half and half, and then you'll get the flares, the spirits, or whatever that will just cater to the economy.
Yeah, no,
that's kind of the feeling that I get.
I mean, they're definitely trying to pull a dollar on literally everything. I think my parents flew to I think Nova Scotia. It was a couple of months ago. And it was just fun. It was just funny to me. It's just something stupid. It's just you know how normally they give you headphones.
Yes.
So now they charge you like 10, 15 bucks
they've been doing
per
that.
headphone.
Oh, yeah,
I was just
they've
like,
been doing
since
that
when
for a
did
hot
that
minute.
start happening?
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just it's absolutely ridiculous. I think the penny pinching that's happening on in some of these airline companies. Yeah. I remember back in the day when you see pictures from like early flights where like you had so much room,
Those
a
days are
full
over,
legitimate
my boy.
meal.
Those days are
Like,
over.
Come on.
But I still got to shout out
where
WestJet.
did
I got to
that go?
shout out WestJet. Even though they were delayed, they delayed me 4 hours on the way back. They have the best internet, that is Starlink. They're calling it TELUS to Canadianize it. I respect that.
I
But
haven't been WestJet in a while, but
the best
I
internet
think,
out there.